Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese Game of the Year 2019, Day 1. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Augustiniak.
Hello.
Matt Sellner.
Hello.
Today's categories for 2019 Game of the Year. Out of Time. Previously, I'll play it next year. Best Mobile Game. Favorite Industry Moment. Best Story. And Best Xbox Game. If this is your first Game of the Year with thefreecheese.com, we're going to go through a couple of categories each day. We will read out the nominees that we put together amongst ourselves, and then we will deliberate which games or items on these nominations make the final cut, who is the final winner, and we eliminate everything down to a winner and two runners-up. Did I cover everything?
Except for when we get to Game of the Year, where we have
a
ranking in order of 1 to 5, 1 being the tippity top,
Correct.
And 5 being the runner-up, but still a very, very good game.
Correct. We'll also have our Hall of Fame category later in the week, all of that. If you're hearing this, it is Monday, December 23rd, and we'll have episodes each morning going up this week to listen to while you unwrap your Christmas presents, while you think about what Boxing Day means, all of that fun stuff you can do while celebrating Game of the Year. Of course, you can go to thefreecheese.com and see the full write-up for all of our Game of the Year content.
Or you could do what I do. You wrap Christmas gifts on Christmas Eve, but you can maybe skip this one for now. That way to give you 2 episodes to listen to while you wrap your gifts.
Look at that.
Christmas Eve night.
Or wrap your gifts on Monday as well, you know?
Why do half now, half later? Just procrastinate.
Nah.
You procrastinate.
Speaking of procrastination, there's a couple games that we kind of put off a little bit too long this year. So long that we get to this part of the year and we go, shit, I didn't play that game.
I like your segue.
All right, go on.
I'm sorry, but this is Game of the Year, and usually our podcast, we kind of stay away from spoiler territory.
Mm-hmm.
However,
not this time.
Spoilers galore.
Especially later on when we hit Best Story.
Yeah.
That one will definitely spill open everything you never wanted to know about Death Stranding. And more. Yeah,
so just be cautious. They can kind of happen at any time. Just be aware that if there's anything you wanted to play this year.
We're not going to go out of our way to just, say, here's the ending. But if it serves our purpose for the argument, here's the ending.
Or it might spoil Jingle all the way, we feel like it. You never know.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Tell you what happens to...
Sorry, Joe, I just thought...
Spoilers, he's Darth Vader. No, you're right. You are right. We got that going on?
He's stressed. He knows big decisions are about to happen.
Big decisions are about to happen. As we get into our first category of Game of the Year 2019, I feel like the music should still be going, even though it's already done. But Out of Time. We used to call this award, I'll play it next year. But honestly, who knows when we'll play these? This is really celebrating the games that just didn't make the cut, not because we didn't want to, just because we just didn't, for whatever. Time's limited. We don't have a lot of it.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't crunch every game into 1 week.
No, not at all. So your nominees are Outer Worlds, Disco Elysium, Shenmue 3, Daemon X Machina, Hypnospace Outlaw, Kingdom Hearts 3, Days Gone, The Outer Wilds, and Dreams. It's a list.
Yeah, it's a list. It is a list for sure. We usually start cutting things right away. And with that being said, I am going to go on the record and cut Kingdom Hearts 3. I am the one who put this on the list.
Yeah, I saw that pop up and I was like, did anyone feel bad that they ran out of time to play
I just
this
wanted
one?
to mention that none of us played this game, so don't expect to hear it at all the rest of the week. And with that being said, fuck that game.
Yeah.
It loses. Goodbye.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I have no intention of playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I didn't think any of us really did.
No, not at all. I don't want to dance around with Goofy and Donald Duck.
I mean, I don't have that level of disdain, but Yeah, I don't think it will be.
No,
No,
I'm
but
sticking with
soon.
it. No, I'm hard.
We can cut
I
that.
saw that same trailer at E3 all week long. During what was that 2018? Yeah, I'm done with that game.
I'm gonna vote to cut The Outer Wilds.
Ooh, all right.
Because I tried that game and it did not click with me, and I don't care.
I guess I'm very picky with science fiction.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that I was.
Yeah,
but this isn't reaching me. It's not.
No,
it's
did
not
you
getting
try
right.
it?
No, I don't like this. This is
that
be,
weird aesthetic.
I don't like that Fallout Skyrim style.
No, I don't either.
To anything.
Wait. Are you thinking of Outer Worlds?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
What is Outer Wilds?
The Outer Wilds is like you play as some little. Matt line.
I don't even really know what the game is about. I just like the idea of because this game can be beat in like 15 minutes or something if you know where to go. I like that kind of game. Where it's
you know what? I think I know what this is.
It's like space exploration.
It is like you have
and it keeps resetting itself.
Yeah, you have 22 minutes before the game restarts and everything goes to shit.
Okay.
You have to fly a ship into space, and I don't know, but it's got this whole like banjo attitude weird thing, and
yeah, I'm seeing it now. Yeah, you only have 22 minutes before the sun goes supernova and whatnot.
Yeah, I just like that idea of a game that I could beat it in 10 minutes, but in reality it's going to take you 15 minutes because you have to learn the mechanics and the little things like that. I don't know. This came out. I probably would have at least attempted to play it like you did, but it came out during the summer of Dota.
Yeah.
That black hole during the year when all I played and watched was Dota. So
well, this was cool because it was like I think if you watched XO 18 or Game Awards or something through Mixer, they gave it to you for free. Like it just showed up in my library one day, and then a long period of time went by and it never hit. It never came out, and then all of a sudden it was on Game Pass and coming. And I was like, okay, so I gave it a shot, and it's one of those games that just I've heard a lot of people say it's the sense of discovery, and as you find different things, it's like, oh my god, I didn't believe it was there, and it's that thing where it keeps surprising you. I think that's great. It's just I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling of flying the ship. I didn't like.
That's what I've heard. Flying the ship's not great.
I don't love it.
It was just looking at it. I was getting No Man's Sky vibes. It just visually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I doubt it plays. Anyway, I haven't played that either. But it all. I guess I can use the same argument that I was gonna have with Outer Worlds. Whoops. It just doesn't grab me.
Yeah, it's funny that you confused it at the beginning because that's how I found out about this game. Because when it finally released during the summer, I was like, oh shit, that Outer Worlds is out already? I was like,
wrong one.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. But then I I saw a trailer. I started hearing a little bit more about it, and like I said, it's like that kind of it loops in a way that you can beat it in 15 minutes hypothetically, but it's all about learning the mechanics and the discovery to get to that point. I just like that kind of style of gameplay, and I feel like that's something that may have clicked.
So you want to leave it on?
No, I was just kind of explaining why it's here.
All right.
There's other games that I wish I would have gotten to.
All right, I'm going to cut the Outer Wilds.
Yes.
Okay.
How about the Outer Worlds? Can we cut that? Because I don't care about that either.
Oh, woof. You see, this is the epitome of out of time, right? This is a game I really like. This was a game that's not necessarily pushing the envelope. I know exactly what it is, but I know I want to get back to it at some point.
If this is the one for you that you were like, oh, I wish I would have played that, then I will leave it. But I did play it for a couple hours, and I was like, cool, y'all made Fallout. Yay. I don't know, man.
You know what? No, cut it because there's 3 things still on here that I rather would have played.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm looking at 3 games.
I'm not saying the Outer Worlds isn't good. I'm sure that it's just
we know what it is.
I respect it for what it is, but it's just not my kind of game.
And also to Mark's point, I'm tired of that. That fake 30s, 50s, 20s, whatever the fuck. But you're in the future and it's cool. Yay, you did it. Sorry, I'm being harsh. I'm being mean. But that thing, that whole Fallout.
It just doesn't feel refreshing, even though it is.
It is, and that's the thing. That's
it looks
the
like the
fucking
same
thing.
engine with just a new coat of paint.
And that's the thing. It's not like they made a really good game. It runs way better than any of their games ever did. It's like
I'm very reductive about it.
no, but this is like the one. They fucking did it, and it's great that
and
they
the
did
level
it.
of skill check-in, the way they built out the skill points, like to incorporate that stuff, and somehow like your dialogue ability has an impact on the way you fight in combat. Like there's all these different weird
that I
checks
didn't know.
There's so much nuance to it. Even like your intelligence actually matters this time because
Yeah.
it impacts which dialogue options you have, which impacts the story.
and
which
like everything I've seen or that stuck out to me was more of the dialogue stuff, not so much the actual like gameplay outside of that. So maybe I would take a more liking to the actual combat.
And I did play a little bit of this. I probably got like 3 or 4 hours into it, but like already like some of the quests, like I got invested in some of the decisions I was about to make that I knew were
I
going
had
to
that,
impact the game. And there's also one like you can make very early on if you really want to that I think that can deviate the path of how that game goes, and it's so refreshing to kind of see that from the start and have like a total splintered kind of like an A and B side of a game almost, right?
Yeah.
If it really does that at the end, I don't know, but it's cool to have that, at least have that idea in place. But yeah, there's 3 other games I'd rather get to, so that would make a winner and 2 runners up for me.
Can we cut Days Gone? Because
That's one of the runners up.
That's a runner up. You want to keep that on the list?
My personal runner up on the list.
Boy, all right, I won't cut it right away, but I had zero desire to play that before this year, and still do not at all one bit give a single fuck about that game.
Another one of those games where I did get a couple hours in, but not nearly enough to talk about it at length. But the one system that I got to fuck around with that I really liked in this game was the ability of manipulating the I forgot what they're called in this game. The zombies of this game.
Tweakers.
Yeah.
No, they're called freakers.
Whatever. Yeah. To manipulate those into enemy camps. And just seeing the interaction between them and causing a big distraction. I thought that was a big kind of cool gameplay mechanic that a game does uniquely. Yeah, like the whole biker thing, the reason why it's called Days Gone. Yeah, that's fine, but the
gameplay hook could be neat.
There is some potential there with the gameplay. I just don't know how much they use it. I don't know what other things are reductive. I don't know. I've heard I heard like the story just keeps it kind of outstays its welcome a little bit, but like I never got to that point to be able to talk about it. But I'm still curious about that game, and it's still installed on my PS4, which has that precious 500 gigabytes of hard drive space.
All right, we'll leave it. Mark, do you have anything on this list that you feel super strongly about?
So, I'm seeing that some of these games that we're taking off, we've actually had some playtime with.
Yeah.
So
just a couple hours though, nothing extensive.
Right. So I guess I should have added something to that. Because Judgment.
Oh.
I mean, I know it's nominated for other things, but like.
But
I only gave that game like not even 2 hours of my time.
I honestly wanted to buy Judgment, but I missed the sale window, and then I was like, fuck, I don't want to spend. Like, it's not that it's not worth $60, but it was like I thought about it and then forgot to buy it when it was on sale, and then that's the one reason that I didn't buy it. And now after playing a couple hours of Yakuza Kiwami, I'm like,
see, I didn't put it on here because I have played it, and so I technically had time for it, just not.
Yeah,
not
but you
enough
just scratched the surface, though, right? Yeah, that's why I put some of these games on here.
I'm gonna put Judgment on because I would second Judgment.
All right, if you put Judgment on, you take Days Gone off.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, because if I'm looking at like my winner, then 2 runners up for me personally, Days Gone's now off my list, and now.
All right, if you're cool with that,
I'm cool with that because Judgment looked fucking dope. I just thought I saw it nominated somewhere else, so I didn't think.
All right,
it was in the contention.
All right, cool.
Judgment's here. I'm all right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as like comedic as Yakuza can be or whatever, but it's still.
Yeah, no. I really wanted to play that game. I like a lot. I just, especially, I remember an interview with one of the localization team members. I was just like, "Fuck, this sounds so good." That I'm in.
What is Hypnospace Outlaw? Because this is like the one game on the list I don't know.
Hypnospace Outlaw is you are playing like a cyberspace cop who has to troll through GeoCities pages to like find bad shit. And it's really just an experiment in
Wait, you're really going through like made up websites?
made up websites, and there's weird stuff, and
What the fuck is this?
you're like going through people's old websites and not even blogs, because blogs weren't a fucking thing, but it's very much meant to tap into 90s. Like,
Holy shit!
yeah, dude, if you,
How did I miss?
I don't know, this is the most trademark game of trademark games, and I'm like, I just kept forgetting about it. It's not for any fault of its own. I just like kept forgetting to play this fucking game, but
There's
it
a lot
looks
of games.
so intriguing, and I'm like, dude,
This is
yeah.
Is this like? Does it seem to play like a hacknet kind of thing?
It's not that, like,
You're not like coding, but you're fucking around with stuff.
You're fucking around with websites to see if you can find out there's some bigger story that's all connecting all of these websites together and some shit like that, and you're basically like a cyber cop.
This might be my number one.
Dude, yeah, I mean, Hypnospace Outlaw is like, that was immediately like, as I was sitting down and we were like wrapping up our nominations for everything, and I'm like looking through like what came out this year, I was like, fuck, I can't believe I forgot about that game. Like, the last month I've been fucking around playing Ace Combat and playing Saturn games, and fucking completely forgot about this game until the last minute. So, yeah, I'm like, I really want to play this game.
Yeah, that is not what I expected with this title.
Yeah, as soon as I saw like that man on the cover or whatever,
Like,
that's
the title made me think of like a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, it sounds like it should have been the name of what Void Bastards was.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. What are you looking at? Hotdad.com?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying, dude? Like, this game's got so much potential.
Oh man, I really like it.
Yeah, we can keep that around.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing to keep that to kick that off yet. Dreams.
Dude, I really wanted to play Dreams a lot.
Yeah, my feelings with this just kept changing.
I honestly think, though, like, definitively, if, like, now that we've changed this title to Out of Time, Dreams is the definition of this category, because the only reason I did not buy Dreams 7 fucking times that I kept thinking about, like, that I had it in my cart and almost went, yeah, buy it and play it, you fucking dumbass, is because I was like, it's going to be a lot of learning. Because it is a lot of learning. Like, you're learning all these prototyping tools and all these things, and it's like,
I'm going to wait till they fine-tune it a little more.
I was like,
I want like a 2.0.
I was super excited about the potential and the promise, and
It's
like,
very ambitious.
There's a lot of
there's
potential.
so much. It's like
potential.
having a game engine at your
I saw like
fingertips.
a really good Sonic.
Dude, I've seen so many really good, like, the people have done amazing things. Like, there was one where this guy built a museum, and he keeps making art, like statues in it, and he like cordons off sections that says like coming soon, and then like he makes a release event for each time he unveils a new statue in his fake game. Like, what the fuck? It's amazing. It's like so cool.
Somebody did a Final Fantasy VII remake, and
Yeah,
they're actually switching between the parties and attacking.
It's insane. Like the game logic that's in place there. Like, this is one of those ones that, again, like the epitome of this category. Like, I don't have time for Dreams, because if I did have time for Dreams, that's it. I don't do anything else.
It's not even officially out yet, right? Like, it's still like a beta phase or whatever.
They're calling it early access, but like,
Yeah.
dude, you put a price tag on it and you're selling the game on the PlayStation Network, it's out.
Yeah.
It's just not. You're going to keep updating it over time, just like every other game. It's just every other game puts it out as a 1.0 release, and you're not. But this one, I really like. I still like. I'm like internally struggling with like, should I just buy it? Should I just throw everything else away and just play Dreams for the rest of my life?
I feel like that's the only way. Like, that's the way to approach this game. Is like, if you have nothing else on your plate,
yeah.
Because like this, I feel like it needs a lot of investment and devotion.
Yeah.
To really get like a lot out of it, or the most out of it.
I think that's where us changing the name, because the I'll play it next year title for this category was very much like, yeah, and like Dreams, I don't know if I'll play it next year, but I know that I ran out of time, and I know that I really wanted to play this game, and it deserves attention.
There's so much next year that's going to be higher on my list to play than this.
Yeah. Yes, immediately. Like,
I mean, we have new systems coming out too.
There's
like,
it's just, it's not going to happen. But I still like. What else? Disco Elysium, Matt. You're the big one on that. That's your jam.
Yeah, that was the one. After when the Outer Worlds came out, and I did start my playthrough there, or what little playthrough I did. All I kind of kept hearing about at the same time was about this game called Disco Elysium, and I heard if you like the dialogue system in the Outer Worlds, this takes it to the next level. And I like so far the skill checks and the dialogue system in the Outer Worlds. And I was like, all right. And I think there's a cool little premise there. Like your typical, I woke up and I don't remember what happened kind of story, but you're going around kind of investigating like this. You're like you're a PI, I think, and you're going around investigating this case or whatever. But I just like the systems that were in place. Like, yeah, I think you have a weapon or whatever, but a lot of your health and this morality meter, depending on how your dialogue goes, like you lose morale based on how a conversation goes, and it's like conversation combat in a weird way. I just thought, in a world where we don't get a lot of new anymore, especially with all the remakes and mechanically and stuff, I thought that was a really neat take on a dialogue system, and I wanted to really try it out. And my like for the Outer Worlds propelled me to want to play this game even more, and that's why I cut the Outer Worlds in favor of this. However, that Hypnospace game was cool as fuck.
I am curious for Disco Elysium. Like, I do want to try it because I heard that there's one of the perks that you can have for a character where like they view everything as like art.
That's cool.
So they see things way differently than everyone else does, and like that just changes everything. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of neat. Yeah,
and the game evidently takes place in like I think a Soviet Russia or something like that, or some kind of Soviet territory. And there's like a perk where like you can always align with a Soviet like personality, like someone who sides with the Soviet Union. So I feel like that unlocks more dialogue choices for you or something.
Like that's a good game to get weird in.
It seems to be taking a dialogue system and just like go into the next level with it. I don't know. You all sticking around with it?
You talked about that game a lot, so I'm not ready to cut it just yet.
It feels refreshing,
but I could give a fuck about that game.
Okay,
but I know that you do, right? And I didn't know Mark was into it either.
Once again, I mean, but like I said, like with us changing kind of the name of it, like I could have gotten it to it, I guess, if I really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that part of our old title, like,
remained. Yeah, I know, but I didn't even know about the Hypnospace game. This is thrown off my entire argument on everything.
I know.
I welcome it. It's a nice surprise.
Fuck, is Hypnospace the winner of this?
No, not my winner.
No? All right. All right,
how are we feeling on Daemon X?
Yeah, so Daemon X Machina is, I think, what I've wanted for a long time, because I've wanted From to make a new Armored Core, and I've been like, just fucking make it. So then a bunch of people who used to make Armored Core made Daemon X Machina. It's published by Nintendo, which means it has that extra level of polish. I played the beta of it, or whatever, the special demo or whatever, where they then listened to fan feedback and said, you're right, this stuff sucks, let's fix it. And they fixed it. It checks every box, and yet I just still haven't played it. So that's where I'm like, I don't want to cut it, but also I've had every opportunity to throw $60 at this game, and I bought Pokemon instead, and I'm not having the best. Pokemon's fine, but,
Pokemon, right?
It's Pokemon. So it's nothing, but like Daemon X Machina, like I still want to. And like part of me wants to just buy it at any moment and just fucking get sick. I follow the subreddit, so I see everybody post like, here's my build. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, man, I want to make a badass mech. I watched Evangelion this year for the first time, so after watching that, I was way fucking... I'm like...
My fear is that there's going to be a lot of grinding to get cool stuff.
Yeah, which I was ready for.
Like the combat... I mean, I know they've listened to feedback and stuff with combat, but it still seems like it's not where I want it.
I'm with you. Because even playing the revised demo, that you played the newer one?
I have not.
Even that.
I've seen stuff.
They made it better. It feels better than it did, than that first prototype mission or whatever, or
It's definitely heavier with, like, gun stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
You can switch between your weapons on the fly, and you can, if you defeat an enemy, you can take their part and put it on you.
Which is badass.
During that fight. That's really cool. I wanted more melee.
Well, you can get more melee. There's melee.
It's like, it's there, but it's not... It's not crazy.
But...
It's like,
do we want this game because, though, of the genre? Like, you're itching for that genre and it's just happened to kind of fall into it? Or
it's both.
Because you want the game? Because, like, say, for instance, hypothetically, Armored Core came out today. Like, would you drop this game to go to Armored Core? Or...
I don't know. But also, like, this one, I like the style of it, too. Like,
Okay, all right.
being able to make your character the way you personally look and change your mech so, like, intricately. It's,
So the pilot thing is cool because you can get cybernetic enhancements and you can replace the parts on your character, and that changes the stats of everything overall.
Yeah.
So that's
the fact there's, like, a weird on-foot thing in this game is really neat. There's...
Yeah, like, if your mech blows up, you can still continue the fight, but you're on foot and you have, like, a little, like, hover gun.
Yeah.
Like a Nier Automata style.
Yeah.
Shooting around.
I really, like, it would hurt for this not to be on the list, but, like, it's my thing, so I'm cool if it's not our thing. I feel much stronger about Hypnospace, Dreams, and Judgment than I do about Daemon X Machina.
I'm kind of like indifferent to it. Like I'm not really a big mech like person,
And I'm not either. I just want to be.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Like,
I would have more interest in Damon if Phil Spencer didn't announce Phantasy Star, because this was going to be like my substitute, because it hit a lot of those notes, but it still wasn't close enough.
Yeah.
But I know I'm going to be playing Phantasy Star way over over this.
Yeah, like the only mech game I've ever really cared about is Titanfall 2 because you didn't feel like you were in a mech.
yeah.
That's part of the problem with me. And
Phantasy Star, you can just be a mech, not pilot one.
I can't wait for that game.
And then
Fem mech.
I don't know, maybe like 4 years from now when I lack a Metal Gear with a number on it, maybe I want a mech game.
Yeah. I'm still, like, I'm going to play Daemon X Machina at some point. They just announced the fucking Witcher 3 stuff, which I could care about. But
Yeah, you could be Geralt for some reason.
Yeah. and Siri, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, I mean, like, mad respect to that company.
Yeah, and it seems
listen
like
to feedback.
Yeah,
like
Marvelous is doing a good job making it, and I think Nintendo's doing a good job backing it. So I'm happy about it, and I'm excited. It seems like it's doing well, also. Which I was worried that game was going to get. It did get lost in shuffle for me because I bought Astral Chain, played Astral Chain, and then when it came time for this, it came out like a week before Link's Awakening, and I was
it
like,
was weird
I'm gonna
timing.
It was right between Astral Chain and Link's Awakening, and it just.
No, if this were an anime, I'd be eating it up.
Well, that's the thing. It's got so much weird anime shit in it too. Like there's like little dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue that jumps back and forth. It's super anime-esque.
Zone of the Enders.
It's dude.
Vibes.
Fuck. Can we put it back on the list? No, I'm just kidding. All right, we've not talked about the Shenmue in the room, Matt.
Woo!
Yeah,
That's my personal winner right there. If I had started Shenmue 1 a week earlier, we'd be having Shenmue 3 probably at least in contention for some of these categories.
Right.
I enjoyed my vacation, but that vacation disrupted the Shenmue 2 playthrough, and by the time I got back, that's when Death Stranding released. There was Call of Duty in the midst of all it.
So you're saying you made bad choices?
No, I didn't make terrible choices. I just some days I wake up and like should have finished Shenmue 2 instead of going to Las Vegas.
Instead of playing Death Stranding, some would say.
I enjoyed Death Stranding. Shenmue is just such a weird fucking Japanese game. I for a couple weeks I was coming in talking about like the weirdest thing I did in Shenmue.
Yeah.
And I just think it would have continued with a little bit better polish on it. The thing is, like, and this is what I've been hearing about this game, like, it is a good Shenmue game, but Shenmue used to push the envelope in some departments, and this one is not doing that anymore.
No. Which is fine.
Which is fine.
I'd
Exactly.
be okay
like,
with that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the weirdness of how, like, that is, like, how those games played.
It has its own element.
Yeah. I wish I could have gotten, like, another 40 hours somewhere.
I went this year from
play.
like not caring about like I appreciated it.
Dude, I
want to
play Shenmue.
But I want to play. Yeah, so yes, I think Shenmue stays on this final list. I don't know if it's the winner, but it's definitely on this list.
Agreed. Like had I played 1 and 2, I would. I'd probably pick 3 over Judgment. I don't know.
Judgment seems so weird though to me because Yakuza is at a point now where they're about to step into this like turn-based fucking RPG category, and now Judgment is taking the place of that. So it like Judgment intrigues me for so many different reasons, and
I don't think they'll make another one though.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
It feels like a just a little like a standoff like issue. It's like not integral to the rest of the series.
But it's also like the next step in Shenmue, right? Like it evolved out of
I
that
guess
Virtual Fighter. I don't know. It's got those.
Shenmue feels like a nice long walk in the park that you just want to like just soak in everything.
Yeah.
Judgment isn't really about that. It's kind of more of like, we need to get to here, get to here, get to here, get to here.
Yeah.
And this is how we're going to fucking do it, and you're going to like it.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I'm cool with this.
And that's how you have
it
to
just keeps
do it.
switching
When
modes.
you're talking about Shenmue as a walk in the park, you got to get to your appointment at 10 a.m. You got to wake up and get there in time, man. You don't got time to be fucking around. You can't be talking to some random Santa Claus on December 24th.
But that's just
in a
one.
park.
But that's just one
Yeah,
portion
dude,
of it.
It started
though.
snowing, and a random drunk dudes, a Santa Claus walking around in Shenmue 1.
All right, I'm playing it.
I mean, because like Shenmue isn't like. Would you say Shenmue is combat centric?
No.
That's what I mean. Like,
No.
I mean, Judgment.
There is a fighting system
Yeah.
in that game, but it is not at the
No, but
forefront.
that's the core.
Yeah,
part
I
of
mean,
Judgment.
like, Judgment's more about, you take a case as a detective, you tail the person, then you use a drone for a bit, and then you go into a fighting sequence.
Yeah.
And then in between side missions, you're always running into little gang fights here and there, and that's
Right.
the gist of the game.
Yeah.
But you're not going. I mean, you can do smaller stuff like go on dates and whatnot, but I don't know. Shenmue seems to like. I feel like they have a deeper appreciation for the littlest details, like.
Oh yeah,
Just fucking toys, the
yeah.
gotcha machine, like just that alone. I mean, I'm sure Judgment is something similar, and I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I feel like Shenmue just does it in a way, at least just from what I'm hearing, just by just word of mouth, is that it has some of that charm that I kind of like that Animal Crossing has.
Yeah.
It's a weird comparison.
Yeah. No, I get it.
There's
It's
something
because of the attention to detail and like the detail of the mundane.
some kind of charm there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Can you open drawers for an hour straight in Judgment?
probs not.
Like just keep opening and closing.
I mean, just like, you're exploring a house, and you're like, oh, I haven't checked these drawers, and you just start opening up all the drawers.
All right.
Close.
As
I
the
know.
three of us, I think Shenmue's on this list.
I think Disco is out.
All right.
As a
I
collective.
I agree. Are you good, Mark, with Disco leaving the list?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got Shenmue 3, Hypnospace Outlaw, Dreams, and Judgment. What?
I am okay with taking off Judgment.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Because of what you just talked about Shenmue
yeah, just because Shenmue 3 is
and how
here
I talked about
and-
Dreams earlier, I feel
I could give two fucks about Dreams, and I care about Judgment. Just
really?
throwing in that. Yeah,
I'm fine either way with Dreams or Judgment.
Like, Dreams is
All right.
for me like that thing. Like, I appreciate the hell out of what you can and you can't, or not even can't. What you can do in that game and how certain people can go all in. That is way too daunting.
If
Like,
the
I thought Little
spirit
Big
of
Planet
this
was
award
daunting.
is still, the idea that like I really wanted to play this, but I just don't have the time, and I'm gonna get to it.
Yeah.
Then I think Dreams drops and Judgment stays because I'm gonna get to Judgment. I'm gonna get to these other two.
Like if you handed me two controllers of two different games right now, I'm gonna
I'm
play
gonna play
Judgment.
Judgment.
Yeah.
Same. I still want Dreams though. Fuck, I want Dreams. But I just
At least
all right. Yeah,
I
know.
It's just I'm never gonna play that game just
Yeah.
because I work a full-time job
Yeah, like
and I want to play other things.
yeah.
All right.
Put me in a coma and then let me just play Dreams in a. Can I do that? Is that a thing?
Didn't Miley Cyrus do that in Black Mirror?
Yeah, good call. All right, who wins this category? We got Shenmue 3, Hypnospace Outlaw, and Judgment.
My vote's still Shenmue 3. I don't know how you all feeling about Hypnospace though.
What you got, Mark?
I'm really itching for Hypno out of all of them.
Yeah.
It's singing to me.
That is fine.
Okay, I really want to play Shenmue 3, but I have not played 1 or 2 yet. I played that little bit of 1 with you, and then
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna jump into 3 without playing 1 and 2.
You have to
Right.
play 1 and 2.
I've got to get all the way through that. I say Hypnospace.
Fine by
Wins.
me.
Yeah? Mark?
Yeah.
All right. So, our first category winner for Out of Time, Hypnospace Outlaw, with runners-up Shenmue 3 and Judgment. All right, we did it. I did not think that would take 35 minutes, but look, here we are. Moving into Best Mobile Game, your nominees are Home Run Taro, Dota Underlords, Grindstone, Konami Pixel Puzzle, and Mario Kart Tour.
Why the fuck is Mario Kart Tour on this list?
That game is good.
Oh my god.
I am still playing Mario Kart Tour, and I'm enjoying Mario Kart.
You still play Animal Crossing?
Yes. It's still good.
I'd rather play Animal Crossing.
No, honestly, Mario Kart is way better than I thought at first pass. Because I downloaded that game and deleted that game and said, fuck that game. And when I was in Japan, I'm on the subway and I saw some kid.
Yeah, we know. You
I
Revolution,
know.
You understand mobile gaming.
I
You
got
hung
it.
onto a pole and you got a finger.
I was like, all right.
And you just happened to play Mario Kart Tour that week. Okay.
But I've been playing it since. That's the thing. I've come back and I was like, I said it to myself in Japan, I'm never going to play this when I'm home. And I got back here and I was like, I'm never going to play that fucking game again. And I've been playing that game. Those little moments in between things, if I'm like waiting on something to start boiling, then I'm going to like, instead of scrolling through Twitter and being mad, instead of like scrolling through, like, I'm just like, why don't I do a race? It's just fun. It's like, it is fun. I did not think it was at first, but now that I kind of understand how it works and appreciate it for what it is rather than what it is not, because that's a big thing, is like going into it thinking like, I want Mario Kart on my phone and I want it to be this. You're setting yourself up for disappointment, obviously, because it's not going to be the console version, but it's better than the whole idea. Remember the like Mario Kart Run problem of just like
watch Mario run.
Right, yeah, right, and you occasionally tap the thing. Like this has a little bit more interaction than that did. It's still kind of pushing itself. You don't need to hold the screen, but like to go. But again, that plays into the single finger gameplay, and it's like it feels good to play after a while. The more immersion, the more time I spend with it, like I really enjoy this game.
All right, I love that. We can cut Dota Underlords. Auto Chess, Dota Underlords, great game.
Yes.
Great game. I'm fully invested in the auto chess genre. That game, one, I don't want to play on my phone at all.
Yeah.
Screen too small. I barely want to play on my iPad.
Yeah. Because
that game has issues running on my iPad. I don't know if I haven't checked in with it in a while, but when it first came out, there was a lot of issues. And then, I just rather have a mouse and keyboard for shortcuts.
I think the other thing to that, too, like, my appreciation for Mario Kart Tour comes in the, like, in and out, right?
That's the other thing I was going to say. Yeah.
Dota is, like, you're not...
40 minutes.
Yeah. Minimum. Right?
Nah, 40...
Max?
No, the game... Remember when they started doing if you lost a round, you got gold or something? That sped up the game a little bit.
All right.
But I'm not saying like it's 10-minute games now. You're still.
I'm with you. Like it made me care about Dota after Artifact failed to, but I couldn't.
That's right. Next year, Artifact best mobile game. Watch out.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
That's. I love Underlords. I love the whole auto chess genre, but
this is gonna pain me to do, but Home Run Taro.
No.
It's so good, dude. But
no, I can't believe you're going to keep Mario Kart Tour on this list instead of Home Run Taro.
Because Home Run Taro, I feel like the Hidden My Game by Mom hook of surprising you, it's now you're playing this expecting it to be. It still thwarts with your expectations, and it still does all those things.
And it still surprises you. There's still things.
I'm not, but I think.
What if this is your first game from them?
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Because then you're like, oh,
yeah.
I mean, that's probably why they do all those games.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I like the baseball hook of it all. Like, it's a good because it just keeps. We didn't put What the Golf on here, but like in the What the Golf idea of like fucking with what you expect out of golf or of that kind of game.
I think the only thing I could probably hold against it. I mean, I can't do much because I haven't played it, but I kind of know what to expect from it, just from being someone that has played other games.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
It seems like they're more about the delivery of the jokes versus more of a core gameplay mechanic.
Like
everything's just very simple. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this has a lot of challenges to it. I think it's just more of like
there's
I think the only challenge is that they just make you think differently.
Yeah, and it's always about that puzzle and trying to figure out, like, okay, what do they want me to do in this scenario? Which is good. And again, in that bite-sized approach, it's good for that kind of thing of just like, all right, let me try one real quick, and getting stuck on one and moving on. All right, we don't have to cut it yet. Can we cut Grindstone? Because I didn't like Grindstone.
Really?
Yeah, I like Grindstone.
Fuck.
I don't love it as much as Matt, but that game knows what it is going into it. Like that, and I could even say for Konami that they're more built around being a mobile game.
Yeah.
Like that was their starting point. They don't have anything to go off previously going into it. It's just, especially Grindstone. I mean, Apple Arcade, right? Like,
I'm not going to say I just canceled my Apple Arcade subscription, by the way. But like, if you were curious in that opening month, you have for free, or like if you found this late in that month, like I think this was worth a month of Apple Arcade. Just
I agree. Yeah, like this was the one out of all of them to spend some time with.
And maybe what the golf, I just never got around to it.
I mean, it did a really cool way of doing like a matching color, like
it's a puzzle.
It was clever.
It's a puzzle game at its core, right? Like just connect all the colors. But
you're hacking and slashing.
Yeah, it had these RPG elements to it, and it got tough as nails at time. But I think that challenge just helped elevate that game to just being more than a puzzle game, right?
Yeah. I just got over it, but I understand why you would.
And it kept, Yeah, it's the same principle thing over and over, but like new enemies had you thinking about your moves a little bit differently, and like the paint in the background kept changing. Like they kept changing the settings, and with the setting changes, they kept adding new mechanics, like new barriers or enemy like it all kind of played together as you keep. Is it a mountain you're climbing? I don't even care about the story. I never even watched the opening cinematic or whatever.
I feel like sorry.
No, I was just like all that combined, puzzle RPG, I think it looked cool. The animation's so smooth. Like, when you rack a 15 kill and you get to hack and slash, like, it feels things good in a row, and then you get that giant one on the jerks. Yeah. Like, that just feels so good. My only complaint with this game was the fact that they couldn't feed that thump into haptic feedback. Like, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it seems like the most well-built, like, all-around for a mobile game to me.
And you can play with one finger.
All right, if we're sticking with the mobile, if that's our argument this year, which I think it should be, then I think we cut Konami Pixel Puzzle. Dude, I know, but I don't play Konami Pixel Puzzle in the in-between moments. I play Konami Pixel Puzzle as a way to, like, sit, have my coffee, and do a thing. Or I'm laying in bed and knock out a couple. Or I'm watching TV.
It's a good brain teaser.
That's what it is. And it's like having a crossword puzzle book. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's the modern version of that.
At the very beginning, you can probably knock out a puzzle in 5 minutes. But, like...
They get hard.
They get real hard. Yeah. Not quickly, but with enough time.
I am at, I'll tell you right now, 90-something% completion. Like, 90... It'll load and tell me.
I'm 40 even.
I'm at 96.4, and I think I've got 3 of them running.
Yeah.
Because I'm like stuck in a bunch. It's fucking hard, but it's so good, and I do want to talk about how good that game is because it's Konami, right? But here's what the game is: it's a free, good Picross game. With no in-app purchases, and like there's every opportunity to do so. Like they very easily could have done half the puzzles that are in here and then said paid 99 cents for more puzzles. They didn't. They put them all in here. And I've played this game almost every night since January. Like
I fell off of it, but man, I was totally in it.
There's so much. Like the things that knock against it are the fact that like there's no synced progression between your phone and your iPad. Which that kind of is a personal bummer, but it's not the end of the world. And honestly, the puzzles, you could probably do them twice and not know what you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, they're not that, it's not that kind of thing. The fucking music, which I rarely would ever have on, but if you do, it's all good Konami classic chiptunes, and it just fucking pops. It's really good. But in terms of like being a great mobile game, I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's not like a hold with one finger. Like, even like I play it mainly on my phone because it's kind of where I started it. And I kind of regret it. But it's like it's not terrible, but
Yeah.
it's not preferred.
No, because you
I
gotta
wish
zoom
it
in
was like
sometimes.
cross-play. Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that game.
And also, one of the reasons why I love this so much, this is my first time ever playing like a pick cross
Oh, yeah.
type game. I never played on the 3DS or DS.
There's a
or-
bunch on Switch now, too, so.
So, that's another reason why I like this so much.
Is it really that bad for phone? Because like that's all I know.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, it's
but,
not. But if you have an iPad at your disposal,
Yeah, like being able to do it
Well,
with fucking Apple Pencil and iPad,
Right.
and then going back to the phone, it was like, ugh.
there's been a couple times on the phone where I meant to hit a square and I didn't realize I hit the wrong one and it's fucked up my puzzle, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
All right, I cut it.
All right.
What's the winner? We got Home Run Taro, Grindstone, and Mario Kart Tour. I know I'm not getting your vote on Mario Kart
No,
Tour,
you're not.
and I'm fine with that. It made it in the top 3. I like that game a lot. I know you both hate me for it, but
it's oh my god. I guess just because of its legacy, and I know that Nintendo mobile games aren't for me. I am not that audience. It's all like those are all just gateway games, and more often than not, poor ones. But
I'm with you, and I was you, and then something just clicked. I don't know where or when or why. It just did. I'm having fun.
and also like it's the way it charges you for shit.
oh,
Are
but
you,
I haven't.
are you kidding me?
Yeah, but I haven't spent any of that money because that's not for me, right?
But the fact that it's even an option.
Fuck it, they got to make money.
This is coming from a guy who spent $50 in Miitomo
I know, for pizza shirts.
just for lewd Isabel drawings on my walls.
No, I like, but that
I mean,
part.
Grindstone's behind a paywall, like, just to access it, right? If we're going to start talking about pricing and things like that.
Right, but
Yeah.
but at least it's just that.
But that's because it's behind that paywall, though.
No,
Like,
but that's the thing. Like, I'm having just as much fun with Mario Kart Tour without spending $0. With spending $0, I didn't do the subscription stuff. You can, and I feel like the people. I think the reason that's in there is because people who are really into mobile games want that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So if they didn't have it in there, people they'd leave and they'd go somewhere else for it. That's not for me. I never played it for that. Like, for me, the fun is playing these tours and playing the little races, seeing how they take a level like Dry Desert. Is that what it's called? The one with the train from
I think so.
the train.
the what was
in
or
64?
Calamari Desert? Yeah, the N64 train one.
Dry Desert.
Sorry, yeah, Dry Desert
double,
is the other one, yeah.
Double dash.
No, remember is it Calamari Desert or something like that?
I don't know the name, but I know what you're
The
talking
one
about.
with the train. Right now, there's like a Christmas tree that they like added assets to it to celebrate Christmas. Right around Halloween, they did special events for that and like did a whole Halloween
I
tour.
forgot they did that.
Like they've done cool things like that like give new life to old levels and make them look really pretty. And
Do you have a Baby Park equivalent?
not yet,
Yeah,
but
well,
that's the cool
fuck,
thing.
Fuck that game. It's the best track in Mario Kart
also,
history.
I haven't played every single thing that's come out, right? Because they keep changing the tours.
Fair, but
But I haven't seen it yet for me.
no Baby Park, no play.
But here's the thing: they are going to get to a point where they've made new courses for this, and they're going to get to the point where they add everything to it at some point. But it's cool because like you just check in and there's something happening, there's a new event happening, and there's whatever. And as you do them, then I'm getting the little red gems or whatever. So when I save up 45 red gems, then I'll go and fire off the pipe and see what random bullshit I get. But that's just how I've been playing. It's
It's just hard for me to ignore the legacy. I mean, I know this could be somebody's first Mario Kart. That's a
no,
possibility.
but that's
like,
my thing is like I still have Mario Kart 8 on my Switch, and when I want to play Mario Kart, I'm gonna play that.
It's like they took that and are like, how can we make this convenient for mobile gaming? And then it's like,
And I think they nailed it in that regard. Because it's not meant to be Mario Kart that you know and love. It's meant to be, how do you put Mario Kart on a phone? And they did that really well. Like, for what a phone is, for how you're interacting with it, for what it's meant to be, it's not going to be sit on the couch with your friends and play for hours on end. It's going to be, I'm taking a shit and I got a minute, let me knock this out. Or
I guess
this line's too long at McDonald's, so I'm going to do a race while I wait. Like, that's what it is to me, and that's been fucking great.
I just don't like the way it turns. I don't like the auto gas. I think that's
You can turn all that off. You can't turn it off. Auto gas you might be able to do some shit with. They've since patched it. Like, since that first initial release, they've added more things. They've now got tilt controls. They've got...
like I wanted this.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to get
I
sideways.
you can't play a racing game horizontal is blasphemy.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
Like any other racing game on a phone, you can do this.
Yeah.
And tilt it to steer like
I
how
get
it should. I mean, I get Nintendo likes to do things differently. I just didn't think it was in their favor this time around.
All right.
So it's not number one.
I know it's not number one.
Yeah, you're not. Grindstone's my vote.
Grindstone's my vote.
All right, give it to Grindstone. Because I'm not going to... I love Home Run Taro, but I'm not. It's not going to be my number one. All right, so Mario Kart Tours... All right, just kidding.
I'm okay with Mario Kart being second.
No, I was
saying-
going to give
it's
it
third.
first.
Nope, it's
We
third.
just give them blank runners up, and I list
Yeah, I
them
know, but
alphabetically.
it's third.
Grindstone is your best mobile game of 2019 with runners-up Home Run Taro and Mario Kart Tour. Moving right along. Into favorite industry moment. Your nominees for favorite industry moment are Andrew Wilson not showing up for E3.
I understand. All right.
I don't know why I just read that one.
The creation of a new genre called auto chess. Kojima at Gamescom. Final Fantasy coming to Game Pass. Banjo and Kazooie joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Bungie's breakup with Activision. PS4 finally breaking to crossplay. Anthem not on the schedule for EA Play. Master Chief Collection is fixed, mostly. There you go. Boy, oh boy. All right, how about we do... I'm just going to run down the list. Let's run in the list. We'll talk about what those things are quickly, and then we'll give it a thumbs up, thumbs down if it stays on the list. For this category, I feel like we can do that.
All right, yeah, that's
All
fine.
right? Andrew Wilson not showing up for E3. EA did a weird E3 this year, did not do the traditional thing, and then the guy who, you want to blame it all on didn't.
You know what?
Let
I
you
kept
blame
reading
it
this as Andrew House for some reason. Or I kept thinking it was Andrew House. I was very confused.
Didn't you write it?
I don't think I did. Maybe I didn't.
I didn't write it.
No, maybe I did write it. And then I
This
missed it.
very much seems like a I'm drunk
And it's not highlighted
Oh,
there,
that
though.
could have been what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a Matt one.
Yeah, fuck Andrew Wilson, man.
Does it stay on the list?
No.
It's not my favorite moment. Auto chess.
Weren't you calling
it
it
didn't
Auto
have-
Battler or something like that? For a
Yeah,
bit?
Auto Battler was kind of the thing. This is born out of Dota Auto Chess, the mod for Dota 2 that came out of nowhere and just took over. And now there's 3 games in the genre that are kind of rising to the top of it. And
Yeah, more coming. And,
Yeah,
I mean, this didn't happen in like a Big Bang kind of moment.
Yeah.
But like January,
yeah,
it happened suddenly, and then all of a sudden they went off on their own, and then not too far after that, Valve is like, yeah, we're making our own, and then
League of
fast
Legends.
forward a little bit. Well, yeah, League of Legends came, right? And then fast forward a little bit, Epic takes a stab at Valve by getting the auto chess that split away from the team that split away from Dota 2, the mod. So that's just been like an evolving kind of weird story of how like a mod makes a genre of games that is very popular at the moment. I mean, I don't think it's going to win because it's just not a moment, really.
no.
But it's been a captivating thing to watch all year.
I mean, it's nice seeing new genres.
Yeah,
going
I
out.
think it's cool.
That's a neat feat.
There's a hook there. And different games take advantage of it in different ways, but I do like that hook.
All right. You want to cut it or leave
Yeah,
it?
we can cut it.
All right.
Like I said, it didn't happen in a moment. I think that's this thing against it. But
Yeah.
January was weird, and then that Epic thing. A lot of
The whole year's weird.
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so who liked Kojima at Gamescom?
Oh, come on.
I was at that. So here's why this is not my favorite. I was so excited for Death Stranding because for once I could play one of these fucking ethereal, elusive Kojima games without needing to have played 17 others. I was thrilled to be able to jump into Death Stranding.
5.
You know what I'm saying? And then we get to Gamescom, and he decides, I'm finally going to show this game. And the first thing we see is Norman Reedus pissing on a mushroom, and we're told, don't worry, you won't be able to look at his dick. And that was the whole focus of showing your game for the first time, and that told me everything I needed to know about this game.
It's so weird because I can see another Joe Dix liking that.
Oh,
No,
you
no,
see,
no.
The other Joe Dix is sitting right here, and I was like, I get
Hey,
it.
look,
I know
Kojima just showed a
this-
dude pissing for like an hour, and it was great.
I know, and there is that part of me that's like, this is fucking dumb. But then I think about time and how limited of time I have, and
Yeah.
I was like, I'm out. I'm fucking out. I can't be in this. That was Kojima at Gamescom is what killed my momentum for Death Stranding. And then the game came out and just, continued to do that anyway. But and also, here's the other thing, too. That fucking interview with Keighley felt so weird to me.
Yeah, that was the other part of it I really liked.
You liked that?
No, it was weird, but it was really weird and awkward to the point, like, come on, this is a great moment.
But in terms
it's like
of,
that can't miss TV when it's a train wreck.
Yes, but
like other things on this list. It's like that can't miss thing when it's a train wreck. I'm going to say keep it on the list. And as soon as he started pissing and that mushroom appeared, that's when I knew I'm going to like this game. It did not lose the Metal Gear charm.
I didn't really watch it because I thought they were showing way too much for way too long.
Yeah.
And I was
I didn't like some of the character stuff they were showing.
I was like, what was it, like 45 minutes?
It was a long time.
I was like, wow, don't you want to like leave some surprise to this game?
But it wasn't even like the Death Stranding reveal that like as part of the nomination. It was the fact that Jeff Keighley announces Kojima, he comes out like a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
And then like all these people go up to the stage and are taking pictures. Yeah. It was the not necessarily the game reveal itself, even though I did love that he started with Norman Reedus pissing and a mushroom appearing. But
could have shown anything.
And then like they showed him in the private room just doing stupid shit, like
bathroom sit down. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I loved all of that. It was the aura around the reveal as well. I say keep it for now.
Okay, I will keep it. Final Fantasy coming to Game Pass got announced just a couple weeks ago at XO19. I put this on the list because it's the precedence of what Xbox has really done this year in particular. I mean, Xbox acquired, I think, 600 developers.
I thought you were going to say 600 studios,
no,
which I was
that's
about
what
to
I mean.
believe.
That's what I meant, studios.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, Xbox has made strides in the last 2 years especially to really set that brand in a place. Like at the beginning of this generation, Microsoft was trying to pawn that fucking thing off. Or we had heard those rumors and stuff. And now they're in a completely different situation, completely different standing. But the one thing, like as you start to stack all of these great things up, it's like, all right, dude, well, what about Japanese games? Because you still don't care. And then we get stuff like Phantasy Star. Actually, Phantasy Star should be on this fucking list.
I mean, that's more of a personal.
But I was super stoked about that because for years I've wanted to play it. But you get stuff like that, you get whatever. And then I think Final Fantasy was like the next step in this where it was just like, okay, you went and made some deals. Like you are trying to make a push in Japan. So all the Final Fantasy stuff coming to Game Pass, the addition of Kingdom Hearts, like getting the Kingdom Hearts stuff on there because those were like synonymous. If you fucking the Wayback Machine, go back to 2005 forums and look at whatever, like the IGN's best PlayStation lists of whatever, it's like Kingdom Hearts are synonymous with that. And now that it's on not necessarily Game Pass, but just coming to Xbox, it's just a big fucking deal. Like,
I think the cool thing with Final Fantasy, I guess specifically, is that, well, I mean, it's also Game Pass. It's not just it's in the marketplace, you buy it whenever.
Sure.
It's on a streaming service, or well, not only streaming, but like you're downloading it
right
for a monthly fee. So that's a cool way to try them all out without really wasting your time and money. And because I mean they're big games.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have that accessibility.
Yeah, as a player and a consumer.
Is it the first time some of those Final Fantasy games got to Xbox too?
It will be, yes, I think.
So, like, even that...
maybe not.
I think a lot of the only thing that I'm, like, about is that aren't these, like, the, like, mobile iOS versions?
No, everything that was on there is not. Everything on there is good, real.
So 7 and all that, and 9, because, like, they're not the ones where it's, like... Where it's like, hey, name your character. Can't use emojis. Like, there's that little...
Oh, I don't think it's that. It's whatever's on the Switch one, I think.
Which I thought was...
Oh, maybe it is that.
Because it's like, that's an easy thing to port.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like Xbox getting the bad port. It's the port that's everywhere, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only thing that was like, whatever. But,
yeah, and then just the value of Game Pass just goes up there, too, because if you think of all these different Final Fantasy games, what you're getting, what, like 9 of them?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like 7 forward, right?
Yes. It's 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 2,
All the 13.
12, 13, 2, 3, and 15. So that's 10 games. And then, yeah, right?
Yeah, 10 games times, I would just say 50 hours
50
each.
hours minimum, yeah, right?
This isn't on
God.
PlayStation Now, right?
No, I don't think there's any Final Fantasy on PlayStation now. Which, again, like, yeah, this is a big...
No, I mean,
it's-
yeah, like, this is
it's
like...
a big deal.
This is the most convenient way to jump into these if you wanted to.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave that on the list. Banjo and Kazooie coming to Smash.
Yeah, I think that's pretty big.
That's pretty big.
Internet lost their shit.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
rightfully so.
Nintendo
I mean, that was...
in New York lost their shit.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I've done nothing but watch reaction videos to this.
It's
and-
like... For years, like, this has been... Friend of the show, Akko's just, like, obvious, right? Like, just put Banjo in Smash, put Banjo in Smash.
Yeah.
And he would predict it. He would, like, just, you gotta do it. And they fucking did it, dude. And, like... I think the downside is, like, I don't really like playing as Banjo and Kazooie, but
It's there if you
fucking
want it.
cool
Yeah,
that it's
like,
there.
it doesn't, it's not that sentimental to me, but
Yeah.
I respect the shit out of it.
And the attention to detail with it, too. Like, the
Yes.
stage,
I mean, I was playing the first Banjo. I was enjoying it, but I wasn't, like...
and the way that, like, fucking Sakurai told you to go buy an Xbox and play them, like, that was just so weird. Bungie breaks up with Activision. So that
Another
happened beginning of the year.
monumental
That was
moment.
actually that might be my top, maybe. I think, I don't know, but
a big
Bungie had to deal with Activision for publishing Destiny, and they got out of that deal to become independent and self-publishing and retain the rights to Destiny, and really shaped it to be the game that Bungie wanted it to be. And it is like, I mean, we'll see this in some later days for different categories and stuff, but Destiny is in such a good place. I haven't been actively playing it the way that I maybe did in the past, but I'm still, like, very much keeping in, check with what's going on, what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just in a good spot. I mean, I don't like that it has a fucking battle pass, but it's not for me, right? I had to get over that part where it's just like, they made that
Yeah,
because...
but not having the battle pass doesn't hinder what you can and can't play.
Right, yeah. It's like that, but that for me was like, ugh, gross. You know what I mean? But then it's like, well, it's because
They got to make money.
they gotta make money. It's a free-to-play game now. People are gonna join it, looking for that. Got it. Move on. Whatever. But the fact that, like, how much of the release schedule and some of the weirder things, like what was the Curse of Osiris and Warmind and or like those things, like how much of those could have been something more had Bungie been in charge, for better or for worse. But
Yeah, it was like, they had to offer some kind of season pass for a deluxe edition, and Activision kind of forced them to,
right,
or maybe forced them.
Yeah.
But, like, that's what that seemed, because they were not big content delivers.
But now Bungie's like, yo, this is an MMO, and we are calling it an MMO. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's cool. You can jump in and experience that how you want, and I don't know, but that initial moment of just, like, hearing that something weird might be happening today at Bungie, there's reports that there's a meeting being called, emergency, and it was like, huh, weird, what the fuck, what's happening? And remember we had that, like, thing where they got money from NetEase to make a game, and it was like, okay, maybe there's something developing with that, and it was like, nah, dude, they just fucking left Activision. Like, holy shit, like, that's
And they became
huge.
independent.
Yeah,
Again.
right.
Yeah, like, Bungie and Activision, it reminds me of, like two people who were married, they're separated, but they're not divorced, and you're trying to do everything you can to play by the rules until that divorce is official.
Yeah, it felt like that for a while.
Free, and, like, that's what I feel from Bungie, and they're able to go with the direction that they finally wanted, and finally make the game that they want.
Yeah, I mean, it finally got cross save happening. I don't know if that was a result of the divorce from it, but right, like, that happened. I assume that next year cross play will happen, right? As they they secure the funds to do that and make sure it works the way they expect it to.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of the big moments of this year that it was like, oh. Speaking of crossplay, PlayStation 4 finally opened the floodgates on that and said, like, yeah, it's fine. Because we just kept hearing all these things, and Sony became the bad guy in this for a long time, as everyone else was like, no, it's cool, we play nice together. And it finally opened up. Which,
yeah, I mean, some games already had it, so, like, I don't think this is like the groundbreaking thing, but it's just nice that, like, hey, now it's a developer's choice. You're not gated by Sony themselves.
I'm okay cutting
Yeah,
this
cut
one.
that one. Yeah.
But I'm happy that there's parity. Anthem not on the schedule for EA Play. To call this favorite industry moment seems a little mean-spirited, but I don't know what the fuck happened to that game.
It's a good thing to laugh at when you see that list. And what? You gotta think,
It
rewind
was like
some time.
3
It's like
months,
2 months.
yeah.
After Anthem releases.
And it's not at your E3 thing. You're not talking about it after that big-ass roadmap you had. And
Yeah,
just-
like I would have thought that, maybe Star Wars is your pillar, right?
Sure. But
maybe in that number 2 or number 3
yeah.
is, more details of your next expansion on Anthem, and nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they did end up talking about it a little bit, but for it to not even be on the docket of, when to tune in to see it is pretty bad.
Cut it?
Yeah, we can cut it.
All right. And Master Chief Collection continues. Like, Master Chief Collection finally got to a point that it feels like the product it should have always been.
Yeah.
Which is, like, sucks that it took 5 years. But,
Yeah.
Or 4.
I guess kind of the same with Destiny, right?
Yeah, but it's finally where it should be, right? It just... But, I mean, Reach is there, right? Which is great because it needed to be there. But in addition to that, like, just the fact that there were no more weird bugs. Well, okay, that's maybe
That's
a
why I
stretch.
said mostly.
Yeah, right. But like, there was things that like before, like you just couldn't play the multiplayer. Like it would just not find things. And now, like after they did that big rollout, was it September?
I think so.
Was that this year or last year's that they started to fix it?
I want to say last.
Because it was when you got an Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they started doing other stuff with it, and that was when you got an Xbox. And yeah. Was there a single moment where it felt like it was finally fixed this year? Like, can we hinge that on 2019?
I mean, I thought like it was like a day they were like, matchmaking's a go now or something like that.
I thought that was last year.
Was it last year?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't following too close with all that.
I thought that was when...
Oh, if it was last year, my mistake, because I'm the one who put it on this list.
I thought that was when Mark got his Xbox, is when they were like, it's here. Sorry. I'm looking now. 20... March 2019. No, okay. So the changes to all of the like fixing a lot of the things was August 27th, 2018. But this year is when it was announced that it was coming to PC for the first time and Steam, and that Reach was coming, all of that. Oh shit! And they did that whole like pizza delivery thing at the studio, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Still happening.
all that. Yeah, that's good.
Compared to this other stuff that we still have, I think we can cut it though.
All right,
And then we can cut Gamescom and Kojima.
you sure?
Yeah, we can
All right.
cut it. As much as I personally enjoyed that moment of awkwardness and weirdness. And
I felt
Norman
weird
Reedus
about
pissing
that.
a mushroom. We're pissing, then creating a mushroom, and then waving in a glass. And watching him take a shower.
All right, so what's the favorite industry moment? We've got Final Fantasy on Game Pass, Banjo and Kazooie coming to Smash, and Bungie breaking up with Activision.
I think Banjo, right?
I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Bungie, just because of how unprecedented that is, right?
So-
I feel like
Yeah.
Smash keeps pushing the envelope of like, who else will they put in?
I'm looking at this in like terms of like broadness.
Yeah,
So like, so if we're just going down the list here. Final Fantasy coming to Game Pass. I think that's cool. That's cool for Final Fantasy as a brand. That's cool for Square to give that accessibility.
and I'll add the Xbox Japan
It can-
thing too.
Right, and like that. I think that can be a big deal. I don't think it's the biggest, but I think it's a good start
All right.
for what can come.
Yeah.
Banjo, I also I think this is a pretty big deal for fans. It leaves a lot. I mean, as we saw with this Fighter Pass, and then what we're going to be seeing, it gives a lot of potential of like anything is possible with who can come into this game. But that's also the thing. It's just this game. I think Bungie speaks louder because it just as a company of what it can do, where it came from, and where it wants to go, I think it can. I think that covers more ground in terms of an industry moment in my eyes.
I like that argument.
In terms of like potential when it comes to all of these, I think that one has the biggest.
Yeah.
Just in terms of freedom and whatnot.
I thought of something to potentially add to the list, but I don't think it's going to trump any of these three, but I'll throw it out there. The Final Fantasy VII gameplay reveal.
That was
At
really
E3.
good. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I don't think it quite makes that cut, though, over these.
No, I mean, that's how you show off a game.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened an hour later that conference crashed and burned.
Yeah, it ended with a sour taste.
My vote's for Bungie.
All right, that's fine.
I like Mark's point.
I mean, I'm just thinking like news cycle, like everyone was talking about Bungie, and then Banjo was competing with E3, so I know it probably didn't rule the press, because what was it? The night before was Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And then everyone talking about how bad
Banjo was huge, and I think, like, to Mark's point, like, it is like, all right, cool, they can fucking make anything happen. And then after that, they brought Terry, right? It's like, all right, you guys are fucking
and I mean, just like Smash itself, right? I think that validates, like, hey, Xbox and Nintendo are continuing to work together to get properties over. And then we got Ori later on.
Yeah.
And not too far later, but yeah.
Like Smash definitely speaks in volumes of when it comes to like possibilities.
Yeah.
That could lead to other things that are outside of the game, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah. But who knows? Like, I mean, it's only for this game, right? We don't know. We don't know what the future is going to be like with Smash. It could be not like this ever again.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it definitely won't be.
It's like
everyone's here.
Yeah, like its lifetime is limited.
Yeah.
As for Bungie, I think that's
more
bigger room to grow.
Yeah. So your favorite industry moment, or our favorite industry moment for 2019? Bungie.
Bungie and Kazooie.
Bungie breaks up with Activision with runners-up Final Fantasy coming to Game Pass and Banjo and Kazooie in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We've got two more categories for the day. Best story and best Xbox game. We're going to roll into the meat. Best story. Your nominees are Death Stranding, Mortal Kombat 11, Destiny Shadowkeep, Devil May Cry 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Resident Evil 2, Control. As Matt mentioned at the top of the show, spoilers. We didn't really give any spoilers out for anything so far.
No.
But this is the one. Starting with Death Stranding. Matt.
You all ready for this?
I guess so.
It's really not that bad, because looking back at this game, I could have probably cut it down to like a 20-hour game as far as pacing.
Yeah.
But no, all right. So Death Stranding plays Sam Porter Bridges, who is played by Norman Reedus. The game starts with you kind of experiencing a void out with a body delivery to the incendiary going wrong. And that's how you acquire one of your key tools, your BB. And your BB becomes this crucial part of Sam's story kind of going forward. The meat of the story kind of starts with a morphine delivery to your mom, who happens to be the president of the UCA, Bridget.
But you don't know that.
I think you do.
No, you should be told that.
Oh, whatever. But then you go to Bridget. You go to Bridget and you deliver the morphine, and then like a last crying wish, she wants you to travel all the way across the UCA to meet and save your sister, who evidently is being held hostage, but can still freely communicate with everyone back east. Keep that in mind. You also reconnect with Amelie, who is your sister. She appears as well because, once again, she can communicate with the East or whoever at will, even though she's still being held hostage. Pretty much saying that you should complete the mission she tried to do before she was captured, uniting all these cities, knots in quotes I will say, and creating this chiral network that will enable, kind of like, think of it as like the internet almost, to allow everyone to communicate and fabricate stuff and share technology and studies and all of that to kind of help, rescue her and also try to maybe prevent and save the world from the Death Stranding that is going on. A Death Stranding is like the beginning of an extinction almost. It's when the afterlife is kind of interfering with the real life, and that's where the BTs come from. And during a Death Stranding, like if a BT grabs a body or anything like that, something called necrosis will happen and will create a void out, essentially. And that's where you see these giant craters along the map and these explosions and all that stuff. They keep pointing to one early on in Manhattan for just like kind of like started the Death Stranding kind of like. But yeah, so. You kind of walk along the entire United States, pretty much. You're trekking along. You end up leaving like the east part. You go to the central part. That's where you kind of meet Fragile, who comes to play an important character towards the end. You find out that she is not liked in the area because it was her company that was responsible for 2 terrorist attacks. Her shipping company, her private shipping company, shipped pretty much nuclear bombs to cities, and they went off. So all these people in this area blame her. So you're partnering with her to try to, connect with people, get them to go into this chiral network, blah, blah, blah. Well, you find out that her partner, who has kind of started to appear, you can kind of tell he's the bad guy in this, is Higgs. They were working together, and it was him that pretty much made the terrorist attacks go off. It was all of him. And she found out about the second one, but not in time to not completely. She saved it in time to not completely destroy the city, but the bomb did go off, so it did affect some stuff. But you kind of get all that backstory, which we'll get into at a different part of the Game of the Year talks. I'll skip all that for now, but just pretty much know that they have a history, and what they call preppers, these outsiders of the UCA, does not like Fragile and what she did. Or what their company did, and they just associate it with her. So you're kind of pulling favors to try to, like, all right, if I do this for you, can you join the network and help, blah, blah, blah. So you kind of keep pushing your way to the west. You get into the mountains, and this is where you meet Hartman. He has, like, a heart condition, so he visits his beach every, like, 20 minutes or something. He goes on a defibrillator, so, like, he'll be active for about 20 minutes or so. He'll die. He'll go to the beach for, like, I think 5 minutes, and then his defibrillator will go off, and he will come back to life and just pick up on his conversation. This is where, because of him going to the beach, he's looking for, like, his lost wife and kid, who died, I think, in a void out, if I remember correctly. But because of him traveling back and forth, he kind of understands the beach, and it kind of tells you it's like a purgatory. Everyone has their own beach, everyone's connected to it, and traveling to other people's beaches isn't really possible unless you have a connection with someone. And that's why he thinks he's able to find his wife and kid at some point, because, of course, he has that connection. He also learned about Death Strandings have happened before. They kind of point at different various histories. I don't know if all of them were real, but he definitely pointed out, like, the dinosaur extinction being a Death Stranding, and there being geological evidence of, like, that tar you see a lot from the BTs.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you kind of get this idea of what, why this is happening, kind of like. And then the final piece of that puzzle is there's always an extinction entity that creates the Death Stranding, or that ends the Death Stranding with the extinction. It's pretty much like a catalyst for it all. Yeah. You get the idea that Amelie might be that catalyst, and you figure out that Higgs might be going after Amelie to create what would be called the last stranding. He wants to just end everything permanently. Like, why wait? Let's just do it. Let's just get it over with. So, with all that being said, keep making your way west, and you kind of cross this lake in what I will describe later on in another category. A really awesome moment. But you finally make your way west. You get to Amelie. There's a confrontation with Higgs, pretty much saying, like, it's too late, blah, blah, blah. You connect the entire chiral network all the way to Edgenot City. And then there's a giant showdown with Higgs using that giant-ass BT you see at the beginning. And then you take that down, but Higgs is able to escape with Amelie. And then you believe Sam believes that they escaped to Amelie's beach. So with no way of really getting to Amelie's beach, this is where Fragile becomes an important character. She is kind of like your fast travel buddy. She lets you fast travel between your different private locker locations. She's able to do that because she has a constant connection with her beach that will let her go in and out. And that constant connection allows her to fast travel. So you kind of like... she kind of agrees to take you to Amelie's beach, and your connection to Amelie's beach is this dream catcher that she gave you when you were a kid. And because of that physical object, you have a connection to her, and you're able to get in there. When you get to Amelie's beach, you and Higgs have another final boss fight. This is when I hurled a PlayStation 1 at a character.
What?
It wasn't. You couldn't see the PlayStation 1, but it was like labeled PlayStation 1, in a crate, and I threw it out on in one of the best moments of gaming I think I'll ever have this year. That boss fight otherwise was not that great. It ended with like a weird Street Fighter style like one-on-one brawl. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
All right.
It reminded me of the end of Metal Gear Solid 4. Anyway, you defeat Higgs. Fragile comes back. Because she wants to be the one to put the final bullet in Higgs. And they kind of fuck off, and you hear a gunshot, but, like, you don't really see it. Huh?
That's the... If you don't see it...
Yeah, exactly. So, Sam and Amelie start talking, and they're, like, walking like they're about to, like, leave the beach. And as you're walking, this is when you run into something that's weird. So when you die, you're supposed to kind of pass over the beach. I think this is where my knowledge of the beaches kind of gets a little weird here. Weird here. I think that like it's like kind of like a purgatory. And if you like walk into the ocean as you kind of go into the afterlife, well, you're on Amelie's beach, but Bridget, you find Bridget being held up by another character who I'll get into in a moment, named Di Hartman. And then this other character named Clifford Unger kind of pops up, which you've seen before, and I'll get into that in a second. But Bridget is there, and you're like, oh, she's dead. Why is all this happening? And then before like you can kind of put all the pieces together, and before you get involved in this altercation with the gun, Amelie kind of like kills you to get you to repatriate back to Edge Knot City all the way out west. These other people I'm talking about, Di Hardman, he is kind of like Bridget's, the president at the time, who's now dead, like right-hand man. And you also have been mysteriously seeing Clifford Unger. You don't know his name at the time until later on, but you start seeing him because of BB's memories. Every time you kind of jack into your BB tank, you start seeing these weird memories, and they're like little like 30-minute cutscenes where like you can tell you're in the tank, seeing it from the eyes of the BB, and you're kind of putting together that the BB is, you know, Cliff's son or whatever. Later on, some weird events happen because of the chiral network. There's a lot of this energy going around that creates like these superstorms. You get sucked into a couple of them, and you wind up actually on Clifford's beach. But it just so happens that his beach is because of all his mental like torment of being a war veteran and all the stuff he went through that you're starting to kind of put the pieces of in these memories together right before his death has kind of troubled him. And you're placed in these war trenches and stuff like that, and you kind of do these little boss battles. So you see a couple of them, and you and Guillermo del Toro, Deadman, kind of put together that he's after the BB. There's the last one you do, which is kind of set like in Vietnam. He like reaches for the BB, but like you can tell that it wasn't like his last cause, and then him and Sam kind of like embrace weirdly. And like at that point, kind of Clifford leaves everyone alone. Or leaves Sam alone, and Sam goes back to the real world. So that happens a couple times during the game, like I said. But now, so why is Di Hartman on this beach? How did he get there? where did this guy Clifford come from? Why is he here? And why is Bridget, we thought she was dead, why is she on this beach? So because Fragile used a lot of her energy to get you to the beach the first time, she has to recoup, making you walk all the way back east. But there's some stuff going on. There's different BTs around. The chiral network's out of control. You can see one of these different superstorms starting to brew up. And then you finally get back east, and then there's one last boss fight against what I'm going to assume is the whale from Metal Gear Solid 5. But yeah, there's a big giant BT whale that you fight, and that's that. So you finally reach the you finally go all the way back east where everyone is, like Deadman, Die Hard, not Die Hard. No, I think he's back at this point. It's fucking weird.
It's fine.
Anyway, Fragile's kind of recuperated enough to send you back. So you go back to the beach, and you kind of discover that Die Hardman served under Clifford in their time, like in the army or whatever, and that's why Clifford was kind of like making like movements at Die Hardman, and then that's where I'm fucking up. Sorry. Yeah. You kind of discover a couple things because Die Hardman's like, you know, why has Amelie been stuck on the beach on the west side? She's been held hostage, but it's so weird that they let her keep communicating, blah, 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 blah. But then, yeah, I think I'm leaving out a part or two, but essentially you find out that Bridget and Amelie are kind of the same person. And there's been this wording like ha and ka for like soul and body that's been said a few times throughout the game at this point. You realize that because of like some kind of operation, Amelie's soul got sent to the the soul part, the ha part, I think, got sent to the beach, and then the body part, Bridget, was the physical thing that ended up being the president. And then you also find out that she gave Higgs powers, all the BT powers, and she was doing that to help enable the chiral network to be all sewn together, so that way she has enough chiral energy to create the last stranding. So yes, Amelie is kind of the bad guy, it turns out, at the whole end of this game, and her reasoning was she didn't want to wait alone on the beach for hundreds and thousands of years just by herself. She just wanted to like get it over with. But because the chiral network is all connected at this point, and it is happening, the last stranding is about to happen. Sam ends up talking her out of it. In an event where like you have to go up to her and hit square to hug her, and that's when you kind of save the world. With that hug, Sam convinces Amelie that, like, hey, yeah, it sucks to be left here for hundreds of thousands of years, but this warm embrace, like, this is what's happening, you know, back on Earth in the living world. You know, I know it kind of sucks for you, but like, let us deal with it. And yeah, we might never be able to solve our extinction, but let us like keep trying or whatever. And in a last ditch effort, she's able to sever her beach from the chiral network. Now her beach is fucking blowing up in this, you know, whatever. It's like pretty much doomsday is coming. And because of that leaves Sam on her beach. It's a kind of like a fresh, brand new beach, but because there's no one to send him back, he can't go anywhere. Now, before Amelie like kind of started the Death Stranding, she handed him a gun, saying like, "It's not going to be important now. It's going to be important later." That gun was the connection that got Die Hardman into that beach when they were all kind of coming together. And then that gun is important for another reason. Your blood is known at this point in the game to inflict damage onto BTs. So Die Hardman loaded the gun with your blood for like blood rounds to destroy any BTs.
Of course.
You have this gun now, so after what feels like, this is when the credits are rolling, because you're kind of getting like, you're kind of like just stuck on this beach, and you're seeing like all these memories of Amelie and Bridget kind of kind of communicating with each other because they're the same being. You're like figuring out all the purposes of what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, though, because you have that gun with your blood rounds, Fragile is able to find you on a beach and pull you out. So not only did you save the world, Fragile, because of the gun, is able to pull you out. Now you're back in the living world, which was a fear of what could happen if, like, you severed the connection. You'd be stuck on that beach for eternity. Fragile, it's kind of saves the day. Blah blah blah. Die Hardman goes on to become the president, giving this big rah-rah speech. Sam doesn't like him anymore because of all this other bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. And then finally, when you think the game is over, it's not. Deadman tells you that the BB is dead and that you have to take him to the incinerator because necrosis could happen and we don't want another void out, blah, blah, blah. Get there. And then in one last time, Sam jacks into the BB. And then you kind of see all the events of these little flashbacks you begin all throughout the game kind of come together in one kind of cutscene. You find out that Die Hardman told Clifford about the experiment because Clifford didn't know about the experiments with the BB. Like, he just thought it was a way of, like, saving his child and his wife that was on the brink of death. He didn't realize, like, studies and experiments were about to be done to this baby to create the BB technology. Die Hardman tells Clifford about that, and he's like, dude, I can kind of do a couple things to help you escape, but you got to do it, like, when I tell you. So that moment comes. Clifford tries to escape. He can't. And then Die Hardman is forced to shoot Clifford to kill him. He can't pull the trigger because he served under him. He has to respect. Bridget grabs the gun in that flashback, pulls the trigger, kills Clifford, also kills the baby. Oh, shit. They just killed the baby. We wanted that alive for BB technology. Bridget then decides that, hey, my other self is on this beach. Let's send this baby to my beach. Amelie gets the baby, and that's when his, like, stomach scar appears because she did some fucking beach magic, and that's where to bring him back to life, and that's where he becomes a repatriate, which is the ability to come back to life when death happens to you, which makes him unique. And then because of that flashback, because of the scarring, you then kind of come to the conclusion that Clifford was your father and he was just trying to reconnect with you instead of the BB the entire time. Before you were sent out to the incinerator, Deadman said, like, two things. One, that a BB's never been taken out of his pod, so we don't know what happened. And then two, I'm going to uncuff you from your UCA links, which would take you off the grid. You know, it would be a federal offense if you took that pod apart and took the BB out, but, you know, you're not on the grid also, kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So right before Sam puts the baby in the incinerator, he decides to take it out. He puts his cuffs in the incinerator instead. BB magically comes back to life when that happens somehow, and then credits roll. After credit scene, like 10 seconds, you see... I'm assuming Sam's hand and the BB's hand, who is now Luis at this point, because Sam named him way back. He started calling him Lou way back, and then that is the rough 20-minute, what felt like an hour explanation, roughly, of what that game is.
I have a question.
That is a wild ride for the last 4 hours of that game.
One question.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know.
All right. Before we move into the next one, was it a good story?
I liked it.
All right.
I liked it.
The whole two mom thing gave me Kingdom Hearts vibes. Not gonna lie. When somebody has like a nobody.
Yeah,
and
but there's archetypes of that stuff like that. That's
yeah.
I get with the high.
I'm not saying it's bad.
I know. There's
just reminded me.
I don't know where to go. I'm not ready to cut it, obviously. I don't think that I don't know.
Let's just move on, because that way we can start comparing stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, that game, it throws a lot at you.
There's a lot.
It's tough for me to give you the quick synopsis in like 15 minutes here, when that game took 35 hours to explain the
Yeah,
story to me. Especially, like, a lot of this happened in the last 4 to 5.
I mean, like, I watched a lot of videos, so, like, none of this is surprising to me, but you did shine some light on parts that I wasn't fully aware of. But I think I understand it a little better now.
And that's the one thing I would say, like, I know this sounds fucking confusing, but when you play that game, like, even, like, I know I said, like, my understanding of the beaches wasn't great, but even with, like, the little bit I knew, like, all these things kind of intersected and collided.
Yeah.
Like the 8 different storylines going towards the last, couple hours of that game, they all connected in a way. Some of them, are better than others, I think, but it all wraps up and you're able to understand most of it if you're paying just any kind of attention.
It was like your family played a big part
in
this whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's do something just as complicated and talk about Mortal Kombat 11. This one's not that complicated. Well, you just played it. You're fresh off this one. The basic gist of Mortal Kombat 11.
Picks up right after the events of 10. Raiden has started to use Shinnok's Amulet.
Right.
But the Amulet has dark powers.
Amulet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of making... is it Raiden or Raiden?
Raiden.
It makes Raiden, like, very, like, forceful and kind of like a tier, like a monarch, kind of like as like Earth Realm protector, kind of commanding Cassie Cage and her things around. Yeah. And then they go and attack NetherRealm, destroy that. Yes. That thing with Sonya dying. Yes. And Liu Kang and Kitana are left like
fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they have to. That's when
Kronika appears.
Kronika shows up and she's like, "Y'all have fucked up this stuff way too much. I'm fixing time," and she decides just to change time all back around.
Yeah, it's not even y'all. It's more like Raiden has fucked up time.
Yeah.
And then makes promises, pretty much to all these different factions who end up being like the bad guys in the story, saying like, "Hey, I'm going to recreate time, but I'm going to recreate time without Raiden in it." And everyone's like, "Ooh, all right, I'm in." It's kind of cool.
This patch.
Yeah. She's like, "But I need time, I need power," and she pretty much is starting to recruit armies, like Baraka's army. I forget the name of it. Shao Kahn and his army, and then like because of all the different recruiting of these different tribes, of course, all the good guys have connections and things with all these bad tribes, pretty much. Yeah. And it kind of serves as a big giant distraction, so Kronika can put time back, her hourglass together, to make enough power to.
Because she's a what do you call it? She's like a humanized personification of time. Like she is time.
Yeah, she's also like a parent of an elder god.
Yes.
Wow.
But you get a lot of the cool time jumpy stuff of characters interacting with their younger or older selves or whatever, and some just interesting moments in that regard, and then everything kind of wraps up with you defeating Kronika and
time resets.
Time resets, but you also like the cool thing is fucking in the end, Liu Kang becomes like the dude,
fire god.
Yeah, fire god Liu Kang. He gets all the power. It's badass. Anything else? Mortal Kombat 11? Like that's kind of the plot, right?
Yeah,
right. There's nuance. I know. I'm just trying.
3-minute version of an 8-hour game, but yeah. No, it's just you get the weird because of time and manipulating. Like there is like Cassie Cage is at risk if either young Sonya or young Johnny die, because if they die, then she can no longer be created.
So what? So I guess this builds up for the next game, or
well, the cool thing is at the end of Mortal Kombat 11, they kind of set the stage to make a clean start.
Whatever,
because they like Luke. It's like basically like, yo, Liu Kang, you are in charge of the future of this.
Yeah, like the ultimate goal was to stop the reset from happening, but the reset happens. But it's not Kronika controlling history. It's now Liu Kang, and depending on what ending you get, either him and Kitana or him and Raiden.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a matter of if he can beat Kronika without losing a round. That's the difference.
It's cool. Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. I'm the only one who played through this one, right?
Yep.
All right. You go to the moon. There's a big old red giant nightmare castle. You go inside of it, and you find a big ominous pyramid, which if you finish Destiny 2's core campaign, you know the pyramids have been looming in the fucking shadows for a real long while. You go inside the pyramid, and you're introduced to Eris Morn, who she was part of a fire team that got trapped on the moon, and they were the first ones to take on Crota, one of the big bad of the Hive.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
In order to survive, because all of her fire team was wiped out, in order to survive in the darkness, she had to rip out the eyes of one of the Hive and fucking shove it in her own head.
Jeez.
So that she could see in the darkness and escape and stay alive. She informs you that in order to fight what is coming, you need to acquire this cryptoglyph, this artifact that the Hive have been using to kind of harness the darkness's energy and protect themselves from the nightmares. So the darkness is the kind of looming threat. The pyramids are the darkness, or the darkness is something greater or whatever. Obviously, the Destiny lore has a lot to do with the light of the Guardians. The darkness is, obviously the antithesis of that. And all of this is building toward, more than likely, next year's big expansion being a total WoW division of, like, the Horde versus the Alliance. Like, that's what this is going toward. You steal the artifact, and the way they do it gameplay-wise is like, you're fighting little mini-bosses to get each pieces of the thing and fully assemble this thing, which is pretty cool. You're then able to craft weapons and armor out of the nightmare essence. So the nightmares are, like, these, like, fucked up versions of different members of the Hive's lore or whatever.
Okay.
Something like whatever.
Yeah.
You fight those bosses, and you're using them to then craft armor and weapons out of the fucked up bosses you just beat, which is kind of badass. Like, you're using their body and bones to build all this shit. You finally get all of it. You build a full set of the Dreambane armor, which will protect you against the darkness. You break into the pyramid. The darkness steals your ghost. This is after, like, you do big boss fights with, and remember, we just talked about the breakup of Bungie and Activision, so resources are definitely a little bit different this time around for Bungie. So there is some, like, boss fights that come back from old games. Like, they couldn't start from scratch on everything, but they use that, like, limitation in their own budget in creative ways where it's like, now you're fighting them for a story reason. You're fighting these, like, projections of their former selves that are brought on by whatever. And all of that, like, hey, you're fighting something old but new again, is all to lead you to kind of a post-cutscene where you finally get in. Your ghost is like, hey, we got it. Something fucked up's going on over here. You go through some different battles. You get the thing, whatever. And then you're thrown into the Black Garden, this weird alternate dimension. And there's someone standing there, and you walk up, and it's your own doppelganger who turns around and looks at you, and is all fucking cool looking. And it's just like, yeah, the darkness is the only way. It just kind of, like, leaves it hanging on that as, like, you got to choose the darkness above the light. Let's go. There's some more story stuff that plays out, like, in the raid and things like that, but that's the basic crux of it. Go to the moon. You find her. She's been trapped on the moon trying to make sure that, like, everyone's ready for this weird fucked up thing that's coming. She gets you ready. You fight a bunch of darkness stuff, and then you see the mirror version of yourself telling you to go dark. But it was badass. It was a lot of fun, like a nice, solid campaign. I enjoyed the story. It was definitely, like, creepy, generally, like, that vibe. Like, last year's Forsaken had that kind of western-y thing going for it, where you had to go and hunt down everything and all that, which was cool. But this, like, just felt spooky. And
usually
good.
when that game deals with a Hive, that gets spooky. And I remember Destiny 1, like, the moon, like, because you're deep in, like, caverns, right?
Yeah.
That shit gets a little spooky there, too.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Devil May Cry 5. Mark, you want to talk about this one a little bit?
Sure. I'm basically just using Wiki for this because, I mean, I can sum up some of it though. So with 5, you start out as Nero. If you're not familiar with Nero, he was one of the mains in 4. Don't really know too much about his past. They don't really touch on it a lot, but this one kind of starts off like this one kind of does a kind of a time jump. No, not time traveling, but like it kind of does flashbacks, and then comes back to present day throughout the story.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're in June, now we're in May. Now we're in May 2nd.
Yeah,
now
when you
we're
load into a chapter, it tells you like where you're at in the timeline of events.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
But so like on May 16th, Nero hunts a demon named Urizen after a dying man in a cloak steals his right arm and the Yamato's sword. So Nero had a demon arm in Devil May Cry 4. That was kind of his thing. Apparently that was the Yamato, which is a katana. So somehow that got turned into his arm. I don't know how that happened, but so now Nero is trying to find that person that stole his arm, and while doing that, he's joining up with Dante to go fight this big demon Urizen. Nero now has a prosthetic arm that is made by his friend Nico, who is just an arms blacksmith, weapon designer, you name it.
Yeah,
it's literally his right hand person.
Yeah.
So you're basically just trying to go throughout the game, trying to find Urizen, but because you attacked him in the very beginning and like kind of failed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone failed basically.
Right. Yeah, they're all...
Dante got like knocked into some building somewhere, hiding. Apparently, his devil sword like hid him from being tracked down or whatever. So he was like hibernating for a little bit. Nero doesn't have any demon powers. He's just a human with robot arm, so he's doing the best he can to trying to go along, and along the way runs into a character named V, who is some like describe him. He's like a
goth Finn Wolfhard was my definition of him.
Right.
He's just like he's charismatic, but he's also like real
he
elusive.
Yeah, he has his book of poetry that he always recites, and this like fills his gauge, like
it gives him power to read the poetry, basically.
Right, like any of these characters throughout these games, you have this devil trigger phase, which is basically just like your ultimate Muso special mode, Super Saiyan, whatever. And his is by reading the poetry, fills that up. And his way of fighting, he has to keep his distance because he's a very fragile being.
Yeah, he's like always coughing. His skin looks fucked up.
Yeah, like he has a bladed cane, so he's always like hobbling around. But he uses he summons demons as his weapon. So he has a panther, he has like a vulture, and then he has like this big like golem like thing.
Yeah,
that's like his ultimate. So Nero runs into him as well, and then eventually they all kind of, him, V, and Dante all kind of come together to have like a joint quest to take down Urizen. But then V starts acting weird, and Dante kind of wants to do it on his own. Doesn't want Nero getting involved.
Right.
Nero doesn't understand why. So you as a player don't understand why. And so you're playing through each of these characters with their own missions, and so you kind of see a little insight for what each one has their own goal in mind. And V's starts to become the most interesting because it kind of, you see flashbacks of this house being set on fire and this mom kind of putting you in a closet to like save you for some reason.
Yeah.
Because she has to go find like one of her other children or something like that. Turns out this is Dante's flashback when his mom put him in the closet to go find Virgil, which is his twin brother, who have been enemies from the very beginning of time or whatever, as long as they've been alive.
Yeah.
And that's all, like V's just getting fragments of this, and it turns out Virgil is the one who took Nero's arm, because that's his sword, that's his katana. So he took that back, and then he went to that burnt down house and somehow unleashed the full demon side of him, separated himself into two, the human side and the demon side. So I guess this is also Kingdom Hearts this year.
Yeah, a little bit. Everything is Kingdom Hearts in the end,
so
right?
the full demonic side is Urizen, which everybody's been going after. And then V is his human side. And that human side is deteriorating. So he has to try to get back to reunite with Urizen before he fully disappears. And as this is happening, Dante is also on his way to fight Urizen again by himself, but then, Nero gets in the middle of it, kind of gets involved, and that's when Dante is like, dude, you can't, all right? He's your dad. He's like, oh. So all this shit hit him. So he has all these conflicted feelings. Because his dad took his arm, which was his dad's weapon to begin with. It's just he's all fucked in the head because he was just hell-bent on revenge this whole time. And now he doesn't know what to do. Dante doesn't want him killing his dad because you got to live with that. Doesn't want to put him through that. And then he tries to push him out of the way, get him to escape or whatever. So you're Dante now, and you're fighting Urizen. And as that's happening, V comes in. And, like, that's when they find out last minute, like, oh, shit, V all this time actually doesn't give a shit about any of you. He just wants to become Virgil again. And then that happens, like, oh, fuck, Virgil's back. He's the big baddie of the whole series. And so now you're just Dante and just fighting Virgil. And meanwhile, this is happening. Nero just has this whole sense of defeat and, like, lost all purpose in his life. And he's just super fucking mad about everything. But doesn't want to give up. So he doesn't want to turn tail. He never wants to turn tail. He comes back, but because of his rage, he managed to tap into Devil Trigger, and he grew his arm back. It's just a whole human arm. But then beyond that...
But it comes back as a middle finger.
Well, right before that, like, he transforms to his full, like, this full demon form, and apparently it's the most powerful thing that's ever existed. Like... Yeah. Like, his wings alone, like, he backhanded Dante till he broke up this fight between them two. Yeah, and he backhanded Dante.
Like, Dante and Virgil are charging at each other, like, about, this is it. This is the murder blow. They're both going to kill each other right here, and then Nero just...
Yeah, they're also transformed, too, I think.
Yeah.
So they're, like...
Yeah.
All in.
But that was the cool thing. Leading up to that whole, like, Urizen thing was, like... They each characterize their own motivation for getting there, right? Like, Nero just wants to fucking stop the evil and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Dante... It's plaguing this whole city. There's, like, weird, fine shit going on.
He's trying to save the world. Dante just wants to kill his brother, because it's just fucking... They've always been fighting. And V obviously wants to get back to Urizen so he can unite and become Virgil again. Yeah, and it's just like...
And Urizen wants to cut off all ties to Sparta, which is Dante and Virgil's dad, who was king of the underworld. He took over because the demon world was sinking into our world. So he decided to be a sacrifice and stay down there so they can keep the world separated.
Yeah.
So Urizen wants to kill any relations to Sparta because that's his only weakness, and that's how you know why. So Nero comes in, full Devil Trigger form, stops all that. His wing fucking backhands Dante, knocks him the fuck out. Like, he said that like almost killed him.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like Dante, he's a hard person to kill.
Yeah.
But just a backhand from a wing took him out. Like,
yeah, it just immediately, from a storytelling perspective, immediately shows you like what Nero is and could be for future and potential.
Right.
Yeah,
because like this whole time, like Dante is good at getting his ass kicked.
Yeah,
but he's always getting back up. He's always going.
He didn't get up.
He was just like he had to lay back. It's like I can't.
Yeah,
and
he
then
laid like a dead fish.
Then you kind of get your revenge. You fight your dad. And so the beginning of this fight, he just screams "fuck you" and like puts his hand up into your middle finger and just transforms into that full demon form.
It's like so dumb, over the top. Like, yes, let's fucking do this.
The delivery is so good.
Yeah.
And so you get to fight him. You don't get to kill him though, because Dante again kind of interjects.
Right.
And they're like, all right, we'll have a minor truce for a second because they have to go into the underworld. They have to stop this from invading the human world again. And so they know what the price is for that.
Yeah.
That means somebody has to stay down there and whatever. So Dante and Virgil decide to have a little temporary truce, go down there together, and take this all out. And that's kind of where it leaves off, because you don't really get to experience that part. You have just Nero's side of it, where it's like, all right, well, I guess the world is saved, because you see everything falling apart.
Yeah.
You start driving back. He does have a girlfriend. She's not really in this. She's more in 4.
Yeah.
But he'll sometimes call her and like, so whatever. So this whole credits thing is him like kind of like driving back with Nico, going back home. And I guess he keeps the Devil May Cry business going because like the other side characters, Trish and Lady, are trying to take over like that little shop or whatever. Just trying to keep everything going. And as the credits are rolling, you're just Nero fighting demons for fun, and then for a second you get to go down into the underworld as Dante and fight with Virgil against all these other demons just because.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where it ends. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But the cool thing with the whole thing is like the setup of how powerful all this bad shit is, because everyone keeps failing, and then that slow, like, everyone comes together and just...
This one also centered around a family.
Yeah.
Where they're the most pivotal parts of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to take over that underworld. You're like, nah, man.
Devil May Cry 5.
You can just cut Call of Duty. It's not going to beat any of these three.
Oh,
Or
shit.
4.
Jesus. All right. I will cut that game if that's what you want.
If you guys really want to hear about it, I can go into it, but it's not. It's a Call of Duty game.
I know, but they did some like weird. They played with like modern.
They played with yeah.
I mean, it's cool that they have one because the last one didn't even
Yeah.
have one.
Yeah.
So I mean, they care somewhat.
Yeah. All right. Resident Evil 2. I mean, I'm just kind of going Cliff Notes at this point. But Resident Evil 2, zombie outbreak, go to the police station, save the world. I don't know. I mean, I love the narrative. I played Claire's side and I started Leon's, but I didn't go all the way through. So Mark will definitely have more to speak to this. But like the idea of the two of them working together to try and find a way. Well, Claire's trying to find Chris, and Leon's just trying to show up for his first day at work, which is fun. But that whole like getting to the police station, realizing that shit's gone real bad at the police station, trying to work your way back out of the police station, and then for Claire at least, the whole subplot of Sherry and her dad, and you start to find out more about what's going on with this whole other project and what Umbrella really is and that whole potential and all of that. I don't know.
It's like their stories kind of intertwined. It's like they have separate motives, they have separate reasons for being there, but then at the same time, they all have an overarching story.
Yeah.
So it's like Claire's is all about, like at least with the remake even more so, like it's this whole interaction between her and Sherry Birkin, and then like her whole family, like with the mom just not being a good mom, and the dad just tyrant.
Yeah.
And just trying to get out alive, and it was also cool seeing a little more insight into Sherry, like when you get to play as her and whatnot. So like that was new.
Yeah, that was neat.
Being in the orphanage or whatever that was, like a daycare place, or
I think they called
whatever.
it the orphanage.
The orphanage, yeah.
And then with Leon, you're just trying to be the best cop you can be, and then shit's going down. But then you run into Ada Wong, and then she has like her own little like mission.
Motives.
And who does she work for? Umbrella? Wesker. Okay, cool. I didn't get to her yet in my Leon playthrough. I'm like barely.
Well, she's a double agent.
That's yeah. Okay,
She's like a quadruple agent.
Yeah.
And if you go through the Resident Evil timeline, she's betrayed like 18,000 people.
She's a Black Widow of that whole thing.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so like there's a whole relationship between Leon and Ada, just like trying to work together. But then like Ada kind of backstabs them in a way just because she's trying to get a sample of the virus or something like that. I think that's her whole. Yeah. That's her whole. Even in 4, that was the whole spiel.
Yeah.
All
right.
And then you get out. Everything's great.
Is Resident Evil 2 gonna win Best Story?
Well, it's not a new story. It's it's a
That's
retelling.
Fair. That's fair. That game is so good and new, but yeah, you're right. I also think there's stronger contenders on the list.
Yeah.
All right, cutting it.
I don't think Devil May Cry is that deep of a
No,
story.
but it's fun.
I mean, the gameplay is what carries that series. It's always been like a...
It is, but
Virgil
honestly,
Dante
like, I didn't play it because of the gameplay. Because Devil May Cry, I always feel like I'm fighting the game to feel how I should be playing it, or I feel like I'm wrong. So it was the story that drove me forward in Devil May Cry. I was like, I want to see where this is fucking going. This is wacky.
This is the most accessible story
Yeah.
out of all of them. I think it's because of this new engine and the way this game is. I think they were trying to get their footing back.
Yeah.
So I think having it simple was the best way to go. It's kind of like a soft reboot, but not really.
Yeah, like it still pulls some things forward, but it also
definitely Devil May Cry sounds like the most fun of these stories.
Yeah.
More that would.
Yeah, more
but yeah, it's fun. Like it's interesting.
It's the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Would you cut Mortal Kombat 11 or keep it?
I would keep it for now.
Okay. And then Control. We all played Control, so we don't necessarily belabor all the plot points. But where do we feel about?
I don't know necessarily the story.
Yeah,
Maybe,
it was the way the story was told was super interesting, but the story itself is kind of cut and dry. It's just like
you're finding your brother.
I
put it in there. And
well,
the longer I thought about it,
it's like you and your brother had some weird shit happen to you. Your brother disappears. You go to investigate where your brother might be. They make you the director of this thing. Like, you are now the one with all the power. Then you find your brother. Then your brother's bad, and then the game's over.
I mean,
yeah.
the powers...
that's the real problem with this story.
Yeah.
It just ends. Like, right as something's about to happen.
Well, it technically doesn't end, is the thing.
But
it's put on pause.
Yeah, which sucks.
Because,
all right, well, then even worse. It's not complete.
It's like what, like your powers are what led you to that building in the first place.
Like, this would be the teacher gives it back to you and says incomplete work, right? Like, that's the...
I guess.
There's no grade. They just fucking hand it to you with a bunch of red letters.
I mean, I think it's cool finding out, like, why you were even becoming a director in the first place.
Yeah.
Because it was...
there's
you and your
elements that would make it what could be the best story.
Like you and your brother were I don't know what's the fucking word.
Chosen.
Yeah, like they were basically chosen, but then you found out that your brother was the more fucked up one, so they're like, nope, can't go with that. He's destructive. But also during that, the former director fucked up by messing with the projector, which opened gateways to different portals and let in the hiss. So
right,
you're just kind of fixing everything. You're cleaning up everything. Janitor.
Yeah.
Um,
It's good. I feel like there's stronger stories on this list. I think the story's cool, but it is very, like, there's, like, all of the things surrounding it. All of the weird little side things are what's really good.
It's the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like me and Death Stranding, right? The world kind of kept me going, but it just so happened that the story of that game happened in the last 5 hours.
The lore is good, and
know,
lore is a essential part of a story, I feel. I mean,
if you want to keep it, we keep it.
I like its... I mean, if we're talking about atmosphere and world, I like its world more than Devil May Cry.
All right. You want to cut Devil May Cry?
I would say cut it.
I feel like, this is where I'm at, I feel like cut Devil May Cry and Mortal Kombat and leave Death Stranding, Destiny, and Control.
I'm okay with that.
You really think Destiny 2 was a stronger story than MK?
It had a more lasting impact with me. Like, Mortal Kombat was, like, fun, and yay, we're doing it, and this is cool, and, like, wow, you did some wild shit. But, like, Destiny 2 was, like, as a personal journey with that game, and, like, my character, and then, like, being able to go and see all the cool shadow shit, and the way that, like...
Oh, I mean, if you want a teacher giving
an
incomplete paper to a game, it's an MMO.
Well, I know that, but it did do... It started to... like grab at some of those hooks that they fucking set out at the end of Destiny 2's original core campaign, and then just keep building on that narrative.
Did it end that story though? Because it sounded like it just like teased like the next thing.
No, like it ended the stuff with like that fight on Mars is over.
Okay.
Quote unquote, right? Like because it's an MMO, there's still like, you can go replay those instances and you can do all this shit. But like, yeah, it ends that and wraps that up and then teases what's to come. Like it,
okay, right.
It's doing that and then, all of those things.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I would rather see Devil May Cry on the list than Mortal Kombat in terms of story. I don't know.
I'm indifferent. I feel the same about both.
That's where I wish I played Devil May Cry.
I mean, I do. I mean, my favorite thing about Devil May Cry is the
how's
ending.
pacing.
Yeah.
Pacing?
Fucked. In Devil May Cry?
There's only one part that feels dragged out.
Yeah, but
the rest of it I felt okay with.
I felt fine with, but that one part does hurt. Even though like you warned me it was going to hurt.
You play the same mission 3 times, but
literally like you're wall walking down 3 different lanes and you can like see each other through the walls.
But they do offer that part to be co-op.
Oh.
But if you're not doing that we did, you're playing as each character.
I don't think of Devil May Cry as a co-op game either.
No, yeah.
But like that's like towards the end, and it's just that one time.
Yeah,
that's weird.
But yeah,
like cause I could safely say with Mortal Kombat 11, like it's kind of tough to put that controller down at times.
I mean, it's a fighting game. That's
all right.
about.
Well, if that's your argument, I put the controller down at the beginning of Death Stranding because I fucking saw. I was like, got it. Cliff's his dad. Like, all that shit, I was just like, got it. Like, some of the stuff he said was, like, surprises, right? Like, the end of the world stuff and all that, but it was just, like, so much of that was just so rote and, like...
It is funny that, like, Devil, Control, and Death Stranding all have family oriented.
Yeah,
stories.
that was. I didn't expect to have so many.
I kind of like that little theme.
Because of course you're a big fan of Fast and Furious.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Does Control stay or go? What's the weakest link here? You guys feel like Destiny is, right?
I didn't say that.
I was just asking about the ending. That's all. Yeah, I mean, if it ends solid, like, there's like an actual conclusion besides just that tease.
No, I felt good about where that game ended, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, this is cool."
I think
that seems the most interesting one out of all the stories that I've seen or been exposed to in Destiny.
It definitely was. Like, it was finally like, oh, cool.
I mean, I love the cutscenes and all the other ones, but
Yeah.
like the way you're describing it, I like how this one sounds.
Yeah, it was just neat how they pieced it all together from it, because you could tell it was like gameplay first, story second, which is always cool because then it means that like the story has to fit what you're doing, and it all fit really. Like, it never felt like a disconnect where like in Devil May Cry 5, you are a badass Nero, super powerful all being, but you're like so hampered the whole time. Like, I'm not saying.
I mean, you don't know that.
I know. I'm not saying I felt that. I'm just saying that, like, the story here does complement the gameplay, and the gameplay complements the story, which was cool. But you know,
yeah. And I think to look back on Control, I think that'll have a better conclusion once the DLC is out, which is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think the world is more interesting probably than the actual story of Jesse Faden.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of close and close for me, but I think I was more invested in the world because I mean hers is simple. It's all about just finding your brother, and then you do get your brother.
All right, then cut Control.
But yeah.
All right, I'll cut that.
Joe, I mean, if we're kind of going off what we've been putting on like chopping block between MK11 and Devil May Cry, you're the only one at the table that's played both.
Yeah, that's hard. Because they're both like parts of the same thing, right? Like, they're both just like weird.
I think they're both just like, at least from what Devil May Cry is, like, I could sit back, popcorn movie, like, this is just fucking wow, like, holy shit.
I think in terms of story, Mortal Kombat 11 is probably a more cohesive, like, I think the jumping back and forth between time does disorient you a little bit. And I mean that in like timeline wise, where it's like, now it's May, now it's June, now it's May a little bit earlier, now it's May a little bit later, now it's June, but now it's September, now it's May, now it's May, now it's May, now it's June, now it's May, now it's over, now here's your arm back. That was kind of like, it was a little disjointed, but
I mean, most of it was the same day. It was just like hours that were.
I know, yeah,
that were different.
But Mortal Kombat 11 had that through line of just like, boom, 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 here's these characters, let's check them with these characters, now this is happening, and then like,
is there a moment that like from that story that really like just like resonated with you? Because like
Liu Kang.
Like
that part, the ending is so.
I was about to say, because
good.
Devil May Cry 5's ending, like Nero transforming,
yeah,
like, that made that game for me. That made that story, like that story came to a nice, complete like little package once that middle finger went up in the air. I was like, this is what I was waiting for.
It did, and I feel like the Liu Kang thing did that, and I love Devil May Cry 5, but I feel like the Liu Kang thing was bigger than the Devil May Cry. It was just like,
because Liu Kang is pretty much killed at that point.
Yeah.
You think like bad Liu Kang, bad,
and also knowing where Liu Kang has been since 9, where like, you know, like it was fucking cool. It was like, I'd hate to. This is the game of the year part that sucks. All right.
No, I just want to get a pause.
All right.
No, we can cut Devil.
Instead of working on cutting, what's the winner here? Out of these 4, Death Stranding, Mortal Kombat 11, Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, and Devil May Cry 5.
I'm going to say Death Stranding.
I'm going to say Death Stranding. I know, like...
All right.
That is that game's strongest point.
Okay. I'll give it that.
I mean, I know it's out there.
I will give it that. It is a...
Like, take away the gameplay of it.
Yes,
and yeah, you can cut out some pacing things. And yeah, you like, I kind of had a feeling about Dad as well. And I knew something was up with Amelie because no terrorist group lets them communicate with their other side. But, like, All the other thread lines that kind of come together,
If
and
it
I didn't
has-
even talk about Fragile's arc
Yeah.
either.
If it has anything going for it, it's the story for Death Stranding. So, all right. I'm going to lock that in. We got to cut one.
We can cut double.
I felt weird cutting any of it.
I mean,
Matt, what do you feel?
like Mortal Kombat, it's always a battle of realms. With Devil May Cry, it's always a battle of demons. So it's like, I mean, also worlds in a way, but
All right, you say cut Devil. Matt, where are you leaning?
Was the V like I played DMC for like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Did the V reveal kind of telegraph itself?
No, I had no fucking idea.
like,
Legit.
Okay. I didn't get that either, but I didn't know if something happened down the line. Like, oh, there's something.
yeah,
fishy.
for people who aren't too familiar, you're not gonna know. But
Yeah.
if you play these games, you kind of get like a hunch,
Yeah.
but you're never
not
never
confident on it.
confirmed.
Yeah.
You know that something's weird about him, and
Yeah,
he's,
you
like
definitely-
his character description is like he's the mysterious.
And it makes the title look more clever because it's a V for
Devil
5,
May
and it's like,
Cry
oh
V,
shit,
yeah,
Virgil,
yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did not
'Cause
see that
I
coming.
will say that about Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, there's like cool moments, but there's nothing that like.
Yeah,
there was
no.
like no shocking character death like Liu Kang and 9.
Yeah, or who the fuck died in 10? I don't know. But yeah, like, no, this had shock. This had, like what?
Yeah, like 11 started off strong because they killed Sonya right away. And you're
Right.
like, oh.
Yeah.
But then she comes back, and actually she was probably better off just staying dead because Ronda Rousey sucked.
Yeah. Wasn't great.
The only thing, I mean, my only nitpick with why like both these don't really affect me, Devil May Cry and Mortal Kombat, is because like Mortal Kombat just it's time travel. I just think that's overplayed.
I was leaning towards cutting Devil May Cry 5 until you started asking about V, and now I'm like, oh, no, that was fucking cool. And that, all right, Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I mean, the end sounds cool. Like
It is.
But your Devil May Cry's ending sounds cool too. That's the thing. They were like,
it is
they're-
pretty cool.
I think they're very similar in the way that like they're both just like popcorn entertainment. Like these are fun little rides.
If you
through
want to fight your
games.
dad, that's the game to do it.
And like when they're both kind of so similarly structured, you have to like nitpick. And if V's storyline is like kind of like that reveal is kind of cool. Like I don't think Mortal Kombat has that reveal.
Yeah,
Shao
no, it
Kahn's
doesn't.
killed pretty early, I would say, but that's probably the most.
Shao Kahn or Goro?
Shao Kahn.
Yeah, Goro didn't take.
Goro's not even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shao Kahn's killed early, but
Look at that, Destiny stayed on the list.
Boom.
I can't believe Destiny's even mentioned the best story. Look how
Dude,
far
it
we've
was,
come.
I know.
I mean, I feel like also like as a game like an MMO, you gotta have some punch in that department, right? Like,
Yeah. No, it.
Well, it didn't for a while. So.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but this
So,
was
I mean,
this was fucking cool, and it's like
they earned it.
because it's finally getting to the pyramid stuff. You know what I mean? And I think the interesting thing with Shadowkeep is that it is the first step in them telling stories in a different way. There's a lot of content now that week to week is continuing to happen, where before you would have those big like, here's your story, see you next year. You know what I mean? Or see you in 6 months. Now it's like.
Bungie, I mean, not saying that Activision had a big hand in creative control, but Bungie now definitely has creative control of. Like,
but
how
a lot
they
of the
wanna-
stuff, if you remember the stuff with like the Queen's Court in the
Forsaken.
yeah,
Yeah,
where you would go there and each week you would see something new in the Dreaming City or whatever. Like it's that stuff happening all the time with like the Black Garden and stuff. Like so, the story's constantly being teased out. They're building a different way, which is cool. All right, best story goes to Death Stranding with Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, and Devil May Cry 5 as your runners up. Our final category for today, best Xbox game, Gears 5.
And
I mean, Crackdown 3 came out this year, but
underwhelmed.
yeah, dude, I was so disappointed playing that game. And honestly, there was really not any other like Xbox exclusive game that kind of tops Gears. Like, we didn't really have anything that we felt was right to nominate. I think Gears 5 is obviously the answer, but
And I will say this: Gears 5 doesn't just win by default, though. I feel like if there was some stiff competition, I would be sitting here arguing for that game. I know I said a couple weeks back, I can't put my finger on the pulse of it, but there's something about Gears 5 that's clicked so well with me, and it's not the story because that story kind of sucks. Kate's a cool character until like the last act, and then. Like there's all these things that
it's gameplay
that shouldn't. And even gameplay, like, you're so heavy, it's so tanky, it's
Yeah, but when you get a headshot,
yeah, it's great.
Especially
and
with
when
the-
you
with the
chainsaw
bow?
dude, it's great.
Yeah.
And when you fucking land someone, it's great. And when
Yeah.
you get one of those grenade launchers that goes over cover, it's great. There's so many little cool moments in that game.
It was honestly
Murder's
like
cool.
that was the first game that because I played through Gears 1 and it was cool, whatever. But I've thought about those games. But Gears was the first one where I was like, nah, it's fucking good. It's fun. But honestly,
And there's some color too. I think that went a long way. Like the snowy area, then going the stark difference in the sand, like the desert.
yeah, it being bright.
It wasn't
helped.
like brown.
No. Well, there you have it. Our winners for day one of the Free Cheese Game of the Year 2019. Out of time goes to Hypnospace Outlaw with runners-up Shenmue 3 and Judgment. Best mobile game goes to Grindstone with Home Run Taro and Mario Kart Tour runners-up. Favorite industry moment is Bungie's breakup with Activision, followed by Final Fantasy coming to Game Pass and Banjo and Kazooie joining the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. Best story goes to Death Stranding with runners-up Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, and Devil May Cry 5. Your best Xbox game is Gears 5 with no runners-up because there really wasn't any other nominee. That's it for us today. You can go to thefreecheese.com and check out the blog post detailing all of these with some cool art and all of the fun stuff. That'll be up now, and all throughout the week, we'll have all of our continuing Game of the Year awards rolling out. That's it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.